As I suspected, 32 flavors.
Good evening, everybody. Hello to you, wherever, whenever you are. I hope you are doing well. So, earlier today, I know a few of you who are in the chat who are here early right away. Thank you for being here early. I know some of you were on Culture Casino's show, which was great, by the way. Shout out to Culture Casino, good friend of mine. Him and his wife are great people. I've hung out with them both in person. Love hanging out with them both. And Culture, I thank him for the flexibilities we him and you'll see us take shots at each other on the Dix Division shows, but other than that, like he's one of my guys, and the fact that everything went wrong with me at the last minute happened, and it was just redonkulous, but everything is good. Well, mostly good, but technology issues, Putin's cat to clarify, were happening and caused the show to start late because of my behalf, but looks like we're gonna be okay here tonight, so that's good per se. And I see a lot of you. I love that, man. That's what I love seeing right out the bat. There's a crowd of people, so thank you guys, and a few new faces to the comic shop show too. Some who I've never seen on this show, some I've seen on Toxic Tuesday, but no, other than that, it's some added faces. So thank you for being here early. Let's acknowledge some faces. And what's up, Comic Relief Crusader? Nick the Greek, welcome to the Comic Shop Talk Show, sir. Great to have you here. And welcome to the show as well, Melted Copper. I know I've seen you on Toxic Tuesday. Welcome to this show. How you doing? The mighty Vulcan lives. How's it going, Vulcan? And I'm glad you feel that way, because I was like, man, I had paranoia running through my head like that entire show because of all my issues. I was just like, man, people in the chat like, man, I could tell this guy's got stuff. No, but if you're saying everything is good, then awesome. What's up again? Putin's cat, LDG, free the net, Pinochet's helicopter tours, the great D Bud Martin. How you doing, sir? The Basco scenario, Mr. Gascar. Cheers to you, sir. All right. So, anyways, yeah, tonight we'll be having just random chat. If you guys got questions, we'll try to get to them within the night. It's gonna be open show. It could be about random topics that get thrown our way. We'll go for like 2 hours tonight. Um, we'll talk, of course, a little bit about the Energon universe with the Transformers GI Joe. I mean, we can't just not talk about it. We got to. I'm sure we got a few Transformers guys on the panel who are gonna have a tangent, and we gotta let them have their way. And of course, we'll talk about what we've been reading and maybe some finds over again. And I've been reading some old stuff lately. I've been really enjoying. Let's just say not again, but more like again. So we'll talk about that along with some of my latest finds. So, anyways, let's bring on the dudes. So we'll start off with this guy.
Howdy ho!
Hey, what's up, brother?
Good to see you, Pablo. Thank you for being here. Just glad that you're here early and ready and right away to party, man. Let's do this.
Hell yeah, brother. It has been an interesting week, to say the least. I got my hands on Zorro. It's an interesting comic, I will say that. We can talk about it later. Also, I have watched the first episode of the new season of Futurama. That hurt.
Futurama. Did you like it?
Futurama is one of my childhood treasures, one of the things that I love the most. I feel this was too current day to actually be worthy of the title of Futurama, even though they have an excellent joke, right? Nowadays, in every single thing they kill the main protagonist and replace it with a girl. They kind of try to do that at the beginning of the episode. Fry decides that he's going to watch all the TV shows ever existed. So basically, he's out of the episode for the most part. And in the end, it seems like he's dead. And Lila is the main protagonist and everything. Then Fry just opens the door, walks in, and is like, "No, I got bored." That's the only Futurama joke that I really felt on the episode. The rest of the episode had a lot of punches against writers on Hollywood, against Hollywood in general, and it's like this is too current year, like really, really current year, to be worthy of Futurama because Futurama was timeless fun with anything. And
Wow. Sadly, I mean, that's as surprising as Spider-Man sticking to walls and Daredevil being blind, but nothing is off limits, man. Sadly, not one thing is off limits, and it's currently that's just the way that the cookie is crumbling, and those are expired crumbles that need to be picked up off the ground, never to be seen or heard from ever again.
oh yeah,
I'm sorry to hear, dude. Genuinely speaking, I I mean, I guess you could say as far as the Marvel and DC perspective, I know how you feel, so I can't even imagine. Of course, being a Simpsons guy too. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, welcome to the party. If anything, we'll pull a diehard out. Welcome to the
yeah.
party.
The Simpsons, by the way, well, other of my childhood loves, other one of the things that they have butchered, but they butchered it early and it was continuous. The Simpsons never had this hiatus in the middle that is basically the series is dead and you think the
Yeah.
series is forever cancelled. And then they come back and you are waiting for more of the sweet stuff, of the good stuff. Even the 2008 seasons were not so good. I'll directly say finally getting Fry and Lila together is a really stupid decision by the writers, and I have a lot of complaints. But I will acknowledge that as a Futurama, I I need more episodes to know if even I will care about this in the future.
Uh-huh.
If not, it can just you know be frozen forever. I don't care.
Let's
Yeah,
talk about some good
mhm.
stuff. Let's get to
Yeah,
some
please.
escapism tonight. Let's enjoy ourselves tonight. All right. We'll drain the sorrows away with goodness. Okay. It'll be
Oh yeah.
huge. I promise. Okay. Keely
Mhm.
Chow, how you doing? Jack Tar Lad. What's up, Jack Tar Lad? What's up, Neil? Says, hey everyone, just checked out the Ultimate Spider comic. It's surprisingly awesome. Yellow Flash was right. We're checking out. Hey,
Wait,
glad
seriously?
you enjoyed it, Neil. That's good to hear. Let's bring in our other dudes. Let's bring out a common nerd who's the common nerd who's back on YouTube. Is under common nerds or the common nerd?
No, it's under the common nerds. Yeah. So yeah, I'll drop the link in the chat. Hold on. But yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. Like it's a Friday night. I made like 5 gallons of wine last night. Like it was pretty crazy.
Nice.
Because I'm like, it's way cheaper to spend $20 on juice at the store than it is to bother doing any of the rest of that nonsense. But yeah, like no, like it's been a fun week. It's been kind of wild. It's been kind of crazy. I'm getting used to having a new baby at the house. Mama and I have kind of got the sleeping schedule figured out and all of that kind of stuff. And
Nice.
yeah, so it's been a lot
Shout
of
out to
fun. And
Mrs. Common Nerd.
yes,
Good
shout out
man.
to Mrs. Common Nerd indeed. She has been an absolute champ. Um, on all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been pretty wild. We finally got back in the swing of it, finally getting over this damn cold snap that we had like Monday and Tuesday. It got because I'm out in my garage, right? Like my studio's out in my garage, and like it was like 30 degrees out here like Monday and Tuesday. And it was like, yeah, no, not so much. Not coming out here. I love y'all. No, I don't have the clothes for this nonsense anymore. And so it was like, yeah. And then so Mama's got her birthday stream because her birthday was actually Monday, but she's going to do a birthday stream tomorrow at 2 p.m. on my channels because she didn't get to celebrate her birthday like she wanted to on Monday because it was so damn cold. But other than that, I'm doing good. I'm out here. I got the heat lamp going. I got my jacket on. Like we're toasty, we're coasty, and I'm excited to talk about all the good stuff we've got to talk about too because I know there's a lot of craziness going on out there, but there seems to be some good stuff going on too, and I'm excited to talk about that. So hell yeah.
All right, awesome, man. Shout out to your average Patreon nerd. Say hail all and hail to the nerds. Just dropping in by, say hi. Got to hit the hey. Thanks for dropping in, dude. What's
Good to
up,
see you,
a
brother.
Dega Outlaw? And Melted Copper said how this lead singer Primus is into comics. You must be talking about Mr. One Les Claypool. I did not know that. I'm curious to know what he likes. If you know what he likes, let me know in the chat, man. I did not know he was that kind of guy. Let's bring in the Clobberer.
Oh no.
What do you want?
Wake up, Clobberer.
What's going on here? What
Get
you
up
guys
out
have
of bed now. Get up,
bothering me?
slacker.
I'm trying. God can't get around to sleep around here. Oh, you guys. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just us. We're. I know we're not that significant, but
I thought I was having a dream. I was dreaming, man, this is a cool dream. I'm hanging out with my buddies on Friday night. And then I thought, oh, it's just a dream, damn it. I was disappointed. And now you're telling me it's real? Wow.
it's real. Unfortunately, it's real. You're at to survive us.
What's up? How you doing, buddies? Good to see you, man. Geek.
Great to see
Apology.
you, Clobbery.
Pablo. Common.
Long time no see,
Nicholas.
man.
Yeah, buddy. Good to see you all. All right, man. We're ready. And chat. Fine chat. Good to see you, my friends. And we're all happy to be here.
I was gonna say I can't wait to hear about what Clobby's been reading lately because I know some of it because of a certain show you've been on, which we'll save for when we get there. But I can't wait for you to just spread the good love, basically.
Oh, I have to make up something then, I guess. I'll make some up if I can't take a video off the top of my head. So,
well, our good friend J Man, you've been on his channel recently, and I've been a lurker per se.
Oh well, thank you. We've been basically that's what I get to read, the stuff that we're reviewing every week mostly. Although I get to read other stuff every now and then, just pull something out of there. Also, so and it's great stuff. The Miller Run of Daredevil.
Oh,
I mean, it's wonderful to go back to that again because I bought it off the racks when it first came out, and and read it a couple times. But it's been a while, long time since then, and we can get into that later though.
Oh no, and we will. I can't wait to because I could always get into that. What's up, DRS? How you doing, buddy?
DRS.
All right, let's bring in
friend.
One of the two Transformers guys, the Ironcaster.
Well, I like to be a man of few words because I like to think that there's more than meets the eye.
Oh, I see what he did there.
That was good. I will admit that was really good.
Wow.
Yes! I'll give you one.
Everybody Good to have you here, Caster.
I know it feels like
a few days ago we did.
It feels like it's been too long.
It has, especially for you and I. We just did a video with the awesome Aaron Sparrow as well. Shout out to Aaron Sparrow. Me, him, and Caster did a review on Cobra Commander #1. So I know we'll definitely have some engaging conversations on that later on as well. But yeah, it's be fun to talk about that. And it's good to have, of course, a Transformers guy. And I know there's a lot of people in the chat who've been paying attention to what's going on in Transformers. So I think we're having a good discussion overall tonight. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. And on top of that, we're going to be running on Diesel tonight.
Ooh. Thank you so much for having me on. I just want to say, you guys, I love this stream. From the first time I saw it, it's fantastic. Pablo, of course, my brother, Common Nerd, Nick, Iron, and Clobby. Always a pleasure, buddy. Always an absolute pleasure. I'm sorry. I'm just grinning from ear to ear. This book was so good, man. I love this book. It's so, man, please, Daniel Warren Johnson, please don't. Your Optimus Prime is absolutely spot on, perfect. I love the way.
Hang on, Diesel. Like I gotta kind of push back here a little bit. It's not just one great book because we have like three solid books.
I just meant the whole thing just as one just ongoing. But it's so good. It's just you know what's? I was just thinking about this earlier. What's so good is Nick is getting into this. And he is seeing Optimus Prime written correctly. None of this Bayverse nonsense. None of this, like from this past movie where he's like, "Oh, we can't trust the humans." That's not Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime, like in issue 1, first time he doesn't know what they are. He sees two humans and he immediately throws himself between them and laser fire because that's who he is. That's exactly who he is. And I'm so glad that you get to read this now. And I'm running on Energon, man. I'm all
good. Oh, that was good. Running on Energon. Oh, good. Hold on to your Energon, all right? Because I got to acknowledge a few things. What's up, Captain? Have fun. Sorry. And welcome to the show, Osmora199. Actually, I saw him in the chat on Culture Casino's show a few minutes ago. And I'm assuming that he subbed and became a YouTube member on top of that. Thank you, dude. That is
Balls to
freaking
the wall,
awesome.
member.
He says, glad to be here. Well, hey, buckle up. If you're a drinker, get yourself a glass, make comfy, pretend like you are living here. Pretend this is a new home you opened up, and it's kind of awesome. And enjoy your stay here. We talk comics and we kind of get a little drunk. And for those who are straight edge, just stay hydrated. So, oh, dude, what?
Dude.
No.
That's how you start the night out, baby.
Hey, man. That Johnny
Dude.
5 avatar is dope.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I was trying to tell
I
him
gotta
that
play both
earlier.
of these
And
clips. He wastes
trying to tell
no
him that earlier.
time. He
Johnny
becomes a
5 is
member,
alive.
and then he gets a member. So we gotta now play the clip for becoming a member on his level. So let me dig for thank you for becoming a member, Osmora199. Thank you for becoming a member, and he gifted 5 memberships, and he gifted 5 specific memberships at that. Huge memberships.
Huge.
5 of them. Wasted no time. Thank you, dude. That is great. You just got here. But thank you. I did not expect that. I value the time. But anything beyond that is gravy and a pizza. Separately. But if you want to have them together, hey, that's your preference. Oh, what's up, Dave C? All right. Well, we got the dudes here. And you know what? Oh, I'm trying to think, man. Where do we start with all this? I know what? I'll start off. I've been rereading lately my first Florida Man that I got 3 years ago from Mike Barron. And I didn't know until I started doing my homework recently. Some of the stories in my Florida Man comic were based off of some real life Florida Man stories. And I'm just like, dude, hold on. Get the hell out of here. What?
Like the best inspiration comes from real life.
He said a phrase, and it really struck a chord with me per se. He says, I don't find stories. My stories come out and find me. And I think him being a resident in Florida, that's exactly what happened. The stories found him, and he just simply responded to it. And obviously, he's got a sequel coming out. And I know it's ended on Fund My Comic and Kickstarter. But, guys, he's got a sequel coming out. I want to mention this story because it's coming out. It's still available for in demand on Indiegogo. It's a sequel. It's called Florida Man versus Hogzilla. So that's be one of 2 things I just want to plug in to get out of the way. Florida Man versus Hogzilla that's one of them, and yeah, I can't wait. It's a follow up, and I'm excited about it because we need more fun. We need a lot more fun in our comics. And it seems like Mr. Barron is going to do that. And I hope everything about this is ridiculously stupid in the best, most fun way possible. So that's plug number 1. Plug number 2. Last week,
real quick, Nick.
Well, go ahead.
I have no doubt that it's going to be a sweet book.
Oh, man. Some cheese right there, brother.
That was good. That was good, by the way. That was good. Come on, no, applaud yourself for that one. That was wonderful. I'm in Arkansas. I see Hogzilla all the time.
Yeah, no,
he's a regular.
I was stationed at Little Rock Air Force Base. Yeah, trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So basically,
I had to drag my brother away from the bar a couple of times. I'm like, no, you're too drunk. What are you doing? That's a mountain you don't want to climb. Come with me.
So basically, you and Hogzilla are neighbors. Maybe even eat pizza together. You bring him home. But hey, you want to come up, be a guest tonight for dinner? Hugzilla, come on, it'll be great. It'll be huge. They said it'll be fun. What's up, Conquest? Mohammed said.
We need
Great
like
guy, very frequent contributor on the Gilded as well. We love Mr. Conquest here. Super
Hail
awesome
Muhammad
guy.
Saeed.
man, I smell a crossover between Florida Man and Alabama Man. I feel like they could have adventures together, dude.
That should be the third book.
It needs to be a story of like all these different like Florida men like popping up or all around, and then it just turns into the Highlander. There could be only one.
There could be only one. I have a feeling in a lot of those stories, though, I've probably encountered a lot of these stories, man. Like
I thought about that
the Alabama,
Jet Li
Florida
movie
crossover.
where he has to kill himself in multiple realities to become the one.
Oh yeah, the one.
Yeah.
Florida man.
It
becomes
oh my god, no. And then it just instead of different like Florida men, they're like Alabama man, Michigan man, Colorado man.
Yeah, and they fight like like the Gundam, like what is it, G Gundam, man? Like they fight.
Yes.
It will be rad, man.
And they're all just the biggest stereotypes of those states.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
Like-
Has to be.
like-
We already know. You remember the guy who got naked and jumped in the Bass Pro Shops and went swimming a couple while back? That'll be the Alabama guy.
Yeah, that was Jeremy's highest point.
All right. We got to acknowledge the Dolph Lundgren member, 5 picoseconds, because he's a Dolph Lundgren member. How you doing, buddy? Hopefully you had a good week. Thanks for dropping in, man. Love seeing great dudes like you. So I want to do my second of 3 plugs because we had Hojo on last week. He was a great guest, great guy. And there were some issues with the website. He got a hold of Fund My Comic. I know there were some people who had trouble backing it. In case for those of you who were trying to and had issues and still like to, this is the link right up here. The website is back in shape and running. I backed it. The Mythical's number 2, his X-Files 90s image type of story going on. I got a bit of a Brett Booth vibe from some of the art. Seems like people are seeing something a little different, but that's what I got. But I backed in. I got the trading cards with it. And Vulcan Luke's got his following said, okay, awesome. Just following just in case anyone missed it. That's all. But
Mythical's numbers 1. Mythical's numbers 1 was really good.
How you doing, buddy? And one last thing. And this is just for those of you not in the know, I have been now working with Mr. Wes from Thinking Critical. Really good guy. Him and I have become really, really good lately. It's been a cool friendship that's been working out. I was on his Comics Aficionados last month. It was a great time. So I got to meet guys like Aaron Sparrow, Doc, of course, the great Doc. Everyone knows Doc because he's a big X-Men guy who obviously hates Kurt Near X-Men. Very vocal about it. But I got to meet Wes, and Wes and I have now paired up on his Patreon. And what we're doing is for the next 2 years, maybe 3, we'll see how it goes. We are doing a little project where every Tuesday we're putting out 2 reviews on his Patreon. And one review is we're doing 1-by-1 individual issue reviews of Planetary. This was a comic that came out in 1999 through 2009, written by Warren Ellis and fantastic pencils by the great John Cassaday as well.
Great stuff.
And we are so far done with 2 issues of the series so far. So we're talking that, and the second we're going through all of Miller World for the next several years, all of it. So we're starting obviously up at Wanted, the classic Wanted from Miller and J.G. Jones, and we're on issue 2 of that right now. I've read Wanted before. Planetary for me is super normie territory, so I get to enjoy this with fresh eyes, with arms wide open, Creed style. Whereas Wanted, it's just like I'm kind of revisiting an old friend, like, hey, how you doing? You still there? You good, man? It's good. So by all means, check out Wes's Patreon. Trust me when I say
You're in
it's
for a
been fun.
ride, buddy.
And also, it's just good to know more comic guys within our sphere who want to talk about stuff that they want to enjoy. What did you say, Klobby?
I'm trying to interrupt this. So you're in for a ride with Planetary.
Oh, good. That's what I want. That's what I want to be, is in for a ride. That's where I want to be. And welcome to the show, the Iron Spider Kid 2099. I have not seen you here before, but welcome to the show. Have you heard that song, "This Ain't What You Want"? I personally have not, but regardless, happy to have you here. And I'm glad you said the word omnibus, Neil.
You got
it's
it.
almost like you knew. It's almost like you knew.
That's
Like you
one
spoke.
They ought to change it to hernias, herniabus. Those
And
suckers are heavy.
it's still in the shrink wrap.
Ooh.
Nah.
Nice.
Scored this sucker. It's 27 single issues with 3 additional issues. There's Planetary Batman, Planetary Justice League of America, and then
Yep.
Planetary and the Authority. So
3 specials.
it's hard to not want to read all 27 issues right away, but part of me is just like, maybe I should just do that anyways, and then just reread it so I can try to pick up on the little extra details and probably make for a better review anyway for Wes and I. But this was a huge find. I mean, huge, dude. You could fight somebody with this. Like if someone broke this right now,
It's a big sucker.
And the
Yeah,
nice thing
hold
is it's still in the plastic wrap, so you won't get any blood on the paper.
I have a line of this is for me, this is the great equalizer right now. I don't want this to be, but in a case of an emergency, it's the great equalizer. And obviously there's some people here who obviously are clearly fans. Yeah. I'm happy and I'm looking forward to getting into it. But man, what's up, Mike has bad knees? How you doing, man?
So, Mike.
Thanks for dropping in. Shout out to Mike has bad knees.
Nick, that
But yeah,
omnibus looks
that's been my big
sweet.
find. Did you get anything recently, Caster? I know. Oh, he did. Never mind. We spoke about it before our Cobra Commander review. Now I put you on the spot. Now you have to.
Oh, let's see. Which one should I got 2 things I can show off.
Okay.
So I'll go with the simple one here.
But don't you worry. I'm tearing this sucker apart. I'm not gonna read this. I'm not gonna be those guys who got to keep it in the shrink wrap. You know me. You know
It's
better.
that same way.
Yeah, I'm not like that. I don't roll that way. But go on, Kester.
So I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but after last week, I want to go into the shop, and I wound up finding a copy of that Zorro comic. And I got
Yeah,
one of the beautiful
it's-
variants.
The covers are absolutely gorgeous. The content.
This is
How is
the
it?
Matteo Scalera cover, variant cover.
Nice.
Okay,
Leo
without
Scalera did the cover.
Interesting.
without spoiling anything really on the book, I was really worried because at the point they actually pull a Caitlyn Kennedy and put a chick on it and make her gay.
I figured.
Yeah, the thing is that was kind of a misdirect. And there's a scene that I really enjoy at the end that I fucking adored. That I don't know how they pulled that off after putting a chick on it and making her gay. Because yeah, is the art is beautiful. The art is absolutely beautiful.
So this one I will have to sit down and I'll probably read it tonight, but I'll get back to you with my opinions.
Yeah, no. If you have it in time for next week, that'd be great because we're gonna have Mrs. C.S. Johnson coming back to hang out with us next week.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So, shout out to her. I'm looking forward to having her again. We got back in touch recently. I'm like, people really liked you. I'm sure no one would say, "Hey, don't come back. You should come back." And she was like, "Okay." And then pretty much that was it. That's really wasn't complicated. So yeah, we're looking forward to having her back on.
so like I said, so I got one other book of note here that I want to show off, and to kind of give a little context and kind of set the stage here. I'm kind of talking with a girl at work. We'd be kind of hitting it off a little bit, and we don't go into Barnes and Noble. We would walk around the comic section and manga and all that. And like the next day, she like shows up. And she's like, "Oh, hey, guess what?" And hands me this big old stack of comics.
I'm
And
zooming in
there's
on
some
you.
So there's a bunch of like Chuck Dixon, Batman in there, but I didn't want to show off any of those because look, they're all great and all, but I mean, come on, we've seen those covers 1,000 times. No. This is what the one I'm thinking of is the piece de resistance.
Oh,
Dope.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Do you own it,
12
Bobby?
cents.
No, I know it's an Irv Novick cover, but I believe, I do not have that, at least not anymore. If I ever did, so. But that's very nice.
Shot, poison, and electrocuted. Who could have done this? Batman. No one.
No one, Commissioner.
There you go.
Dude.
Is that Alfred?
a bit of Rasputin dead though.
That's it. Alfred who's dead.
So this is a
Almost
Frank
spoiled everything.
Robbins story, art
Yep.
by Irv Novick and Joe
Nope.
Gilla.
Joe Giella. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I think you just made some dudes lose it.
I think it's worth a little bit more than 12 cents.
Yeah, just a little bit more now.
Well, now it's priceless because I'm not getting rid of this.
I know. I just it trips up. Oh, dude. Look at,
Oh, there you go. Open those pages. That's
Oh,
that is cool.
dude. Wow.
What kind of ads has it got in there?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh,
ooh, yeah. I especially I love all the Muscle Man ads. The Muscle Man ads were the best.
Raven
How
Bold
can
ad
this
with
be possible?
Neil
Batman
Adams
and
cover.
Sergeant Rock together. Find out in July. Find out in the July exciting issue. Brave and the Bold on sale April 22nd.
Neil Adams cover. Nice.
Let me
Bob
find.
Haney.
Oh wait, there we go. Couple of those classic, like comic book ads.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Cool.
I miss that era of advertisement. It was supposed to make you engage with the advertisement instead of whatever they are doing now. So it was just fun to read.
So yeah, this is kind of my big. This is like my big pull of the week.
Yeah, love it.
I love it. I love it.
That is awesome, dude.
What's up, Mars Monkey Max?
Okay, so what else did you got?
All right, get me off screen. This is getting a little awkward. There we go.
All right.
Like,
Not
should
awkward
I
for the rest
find
of
another
us.
comic to pull out? Like I don't know.
I got it. Oh yeah.
Wait, pull it up. Let's hear it.
How's it smell? Smells good.
Yeah.
Let's hear that shrink wrap.
It's not about the beer that I drink, but how I party after defines me.
That didn't make sense. It had no relation to this show whatsoever. I just wanted an excuse to say it. I don't know if
That's
it
what
was
that
well
feels
done. It probably actually wasn't. But
Is that kind of good smell, Commissioner?
Yeah, Harvey.
I'm just gonna I'm trying to look
Hey,
at a things I
face.
can just tease you guys
Scary
with.
face.
How much does that weigh, Dick? That thing's got to be a couple pounds,
It
right?
feels like it weighs a ton in my hand. Not to get all
Giggity.
weird about it, but
You can start curling it.
I'll just say here. I'm gonna zoom in on me. Yeah, right. At best, it's a Batom impression, but let right here.
Wow.
So, yeah,
I like the art.
that's that good old John Cassidy right there. His handy dandy
He
work.
was great. He was slow. He was great.
I can't wait to dive into this because I'm 2 issues in, and I can't wait to read more. I've been told from a lot of Warren Ellis fans that this is the most Warren Ellis ever got, and okay,
Huh.
good.
It's-
That's what I wanna see. I wanna see where was the man at what many people would argue was one of his best pieces, and I love Cassidy's art too. I think he's fantastic, and I've been learning thanks to guys like Clubby. I've been learning about the history of the book with the release schedule. Because if you're someone who's not in the know of the book, there was as I mentioned earlier, there's 27 issues. However,
And 3 specials. And it
3
took 'em-
specials,
took
so
'em
technically, I guess on
13
a technicality, 30 issues. But however, it was spread out over 10 years, with the 26th issue and the 27th issue, that being the series finale,
like more
was
than
a
that somehow.
3-year gap.
Yeah, I mean, there would be times, dude, where I'd forget about the comic. I bought it from the very first issue coming out, and first, few months or so, it was late sometimes. Once in a while, then it became one of those running jokes at the comic shops, where an issue would come out. Wait, Planetary came out again? They still make that? It got to a point where when an issue would pop up, I go, well, crap! I got to go pull those other ones and read it. I've been waiting for 2 years. I don't know I don't remember everything that happened. I got to go catch up with it, and it happened all the time. I remember when the last issue came out. Was it 09 or something? No, maybe 2011. I can't remember exactly what it was.
2009 was, I looked into it.
Like that.
2009 was the last
Okay.
issue.
I'm glad. I go, wow, so this is the last one. It's been so long since the other ones. I had to whip back and just, read everything. And I said that, I didn't have any trades, or there were no trades. But I remembered it. Maybe been some trades, but I had all the regular issues, in the special. So, wow. And it was, but it's it's messed up. It's really messed up. But it's a well done comic. You can put it like that. Great art.
And luckily, it's looked back on fondly, because if the book was not looked back on fondly with all the delays, that would be that's what the book would be remembered for. So, nowadays people have, I guess you could say, not talk about as much or update the book with that. But which was the greater, or in this case, worse delayed book between that or the Rocketeer? Which was the one for you?
Well, Rocketeer probably, because that took. I mean, there was so little of it, and I mean, when you think about how amazing it is, they made a movie considering how little material there was from Star Slayer #2, the first appearance of Rocketeer, until the movie came out. There was that. There was a backup in Star Slayer. There was Pacific Comics Presents, and there was Rocketeer Adventure Magazine, which didn't last long. Before there was and then there was a movie. So not long, man, not long. So but there've been there were a lot of other comics in the '80s that were that way. The direct sales stuff that took months and months and months. Watchmen took forever. Miller's Dark Knight took forever, of course. All those comics, when you were buying them on a weekly basis, Camelot 3000 took forever. A lot of them did. It was crazy.
No, okay. Before I acknowledge another gifted membership, which was the book that was since Clobby, you're the most valid one to answer this question. Which was the book that had extensive delays and the ending did absolutely not deliver?
Did not deliver. Oh, there were a couple. In my opinion, this is not a popular opinion. This is what they call the hot takes or whatever. I did not like issue 4 of Miller's Dark Knight Returns. I have to be honest with you. I don't like it. It's a classic. And I hated it, as a matter of fact. And I didn't like this. Actually, issue 3 had issues with as well. And yes, by the way, when you say that, some people who've only read it as a hardcover or a trade say, "What do you mean issues?" It was 4-issue series, in a prestige format. So that would be one. Camelot 3000. Many people tell you that one really shit the bed. That was 12 issues. It took forever. There was 2 years between issue 11 and 12. It was a 12-issue max series, or more. There was there was a year between 10 and 11, or over a year almost. So those are 2 of them that I would say a lot of people were really disappointed in the ending. Watchmen was the one that maybe there's someone who was disappointed. That was the one that, even though it took forever, and I can't remember exactly how many months for that last issue, was the one that everyone would say didn't hurt it at all. Oh, Miracle Man, that's one that was the best. Was probably, I'd say, the best. Did anyone read Grimjack? I loved Grimjack, especially the early ones. Davina Duckworth, the Timothy Truman ones.
Shout out to Davina.
And the John Ostrander ones. Not so much I like the John Gaunt Grimjack. I didn't like the second guy much, but man, Grimjack, great and there was a lot of it. So there's one from the 80s you could check out. Yeah. So sorry about that, but yeah.
No, I'm glad you went on. I wanted to hear this experience and your life story with these delayed comics, because it reminded me of a recent indie comic movement that did pretty well, especially since it gained normie attention and it was coming out consistently. Now, I'll admit I wasn't really into the book. I tried for a few issues. I wasn't really into it, but it did have an audience. It's called Saga, and it came
Oh,
out
yeah.
consistently
Yeah.
up until like issue 50 something. And then the writer Brian K. Vaughan, who did a Doctor Strange story that I really liked, him and his artist were supposed to take a year off. That's what they said, and then it turned into 3 years. And why this is notable and relatable to what you're saying is because it became 3 years, and I knew a lot of people who got into comics because of Saga,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
a lot of, and this is, you gotta remember, since Saga is a first comic for many people, a lot of them were not aware of the history of books that have extensive delays. So you would have people like, oh, what do I do? What do I buy? I remember that being a thing at the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people checked out from getting comics because the wait ended up being more than a year. And I was just like, and
Yeah.
especially we're in the internet decreased attention span day and age. You take that along with comics always having a little bit of a delay, especially with non-big two books.
Yeah.
You
It was
lost
a
a lot of
common
people.
thing.
When the book came back, I think last year or a year and a half ago, they had nowhere near the amount of people coming back for when the book returned. The number was so plummeting that they actually bumped up the price on the book because Saga was one of the last comics at Image to be $2.99.
Yeah.
And then when it returned, it was $2.99, but the sales went down so bad that they brought the price up to $3.99. We all know why he brought up to $3.99 to compensate for the loss.
Yeah. It was
What a that's like once again, even though I wasn't really a fan for those who were, hey, great. But
right.
man, what a missed opportunity of they should have stuck to their word on the air because that's how you hurt the medium, especially when you gain in people a rare opportunity where you bring in people who've never owned a comic and that's their first story.
I remember sticking with Saga up until they did like the whole abortion town thing, and then I fell off at that point. I'm like, this is getting a little too out here. I'm done.
The what now?
Yeah, that was a weird thing they did.
Huh.
But Saga was always kind of weird with some of the stuff they did, so it just kind of felt like it was part and parcel for that world. But I'm like, all right, this is a bit much for me.
Out
You know
of
what?
late. Okay, Saga is from what year?
Oh, well,
2012
early 2000s?
through
Oh, okay.
2018.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, just
So-
to kind of address that with what 5 picoseconds they're saying there, it like the material itself and all that, it was absolutely drenched in sort of that sort of like kind of politics with that sort of culture of things. But which I don't have a problem with those kinds of books existing. Like they're more than welcome to be in the shops. They just have to sell.
Yeah, and also if you're making your own book like that and you're getting it out of the stuff that I love, I won't complain about that either.
Yeah,
because it's hard to argue with things that sell, which it did. Objectively speaking, it did. A, B, it was an original property, so even though I didn't like it, there was no skin off my back because they weren't trying to go in and infiltrate something that I loved. They made their own thing, and it did land an audience. And then they plummeted their own audience, which is unshockingly for people of that demographic. That's what they're good at doing, is shooting themselves in the foot. Even though Brian K. Vaughan did a cool Doctor Strange story with Marcos Martin that I liked many moons back.
The other problem was they did multiple breaks. It wasn't just one.
Yeah, but the ones that they did earlier on were not as extensive as that. It was like a month to 2, maybe 3, which is pretty standard for Image books, Dark Horse books, all those companies. Not a year that was going to turn into 3. That was the difference, because a lot of people are pretty patient with a few months, especially for the ones who bought it in trade. Yeah, I remember this because once I was at a shop at the time going frequently in Chicago, and you'd have people come back for the trade, and people were fine with that. There, you had the single issue fans, and then you also had the trade waiters. And then there were people because they were diehards. They got them both. They got them both, and they chased both of them away. They chased both of them away by doing that.
I have been thinking something about what Ironcaster said, that uh, the books can exist, just they need to sell. Um, with everything that is happening, especially with Millet being the voice of libertarianism in my region, it's kind of interesting to see that idea of you can do whatever you want, just don't fuck anything that already exists, is starting to stick into the consciousness, because there's a lot, and I mean a lot of shit that has been coming out of late, that is just new franchises. Most of them will die. I will be honest. Most of the stuff that they are doing currently will absolutely disappear, but some will stick. Some will get a market. I saw that at least the first episode of that animation for uh, Has Been Hotel that is going on Prime. That the guy has been doing the same animation for 10 years. Nobody has ever complained, and now it's on Prime. So, okay, uh, it won't last. It's not good enough to last. So don't worry about it. Yeah, it will disappear, but it's his own franchise. I absolutely don't care. What I care is what they are doing with Indiana Jones, for example. That they are doing a new game where they are going to humiliate Indiana Jones again, and that's absolutely the issue. Is not that you are creating something new, so whatever, get your market, and if your market is huge, good for you. They are tearing apart something that is beloved, and
All right,
that
so
yeah.
I'm gonna acknowledge Osmora 199. It's crazy to say that now on the show. Has gifted another 5 memberships.
199.
Not because you did it again. I'm gonna give you the double clip. No, I'm gonna give you the triple clip.
Huge!
Oh, that's a first. Where is
You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
that clip? Is usually saved for only the ones who do the direct donation, but we made an exception for you tonight. Thank you for another 5 huge memberships, sir. And Neil here gives a great comment. Says, if anyone wants a good underrated Doctor Strange comic, Into Shambhala by J.M. DeMatteis. Excellent book and him at his best. Also, the art is gorgeous in that book. So, yeah, I like that. And Dearest has a great notable comment here. So I want to be fair about the new Indiana Jones game. I don't want to call a female character a girl boss before you know more about the game. She could just be an adventurous character. I understand your point, Dearest. Now here is, and I'm willing to be corrected on this. You should always be willing to be correct on anything except for a fact. But what I got out of her appearance, her hairdo, granted, you can, or maybe say, oh, a certain angle, maybe it looked the way it did, but her hairstyle really reeked from what I saw the short clip of current year.
Well,
It
did you
reeked
see
of
the?
It reeked of the
Yeah, it
shaved
did.
side look.
So we watched
And
that. We watched that.
That adds to the girl boss checklist.
True.
Yeah, we watched that trailer for the game today on my show, and I was like, okay, this doesn't look too bad. I'm digging it. But then somebody, JT Savage, shared the picture of one of the head game designer behind it, and it's exactly what you'd expect. So I'm like, okay, so is this gonna be as woke as we think it's gonna be because of the person behind it, or is this they put this person in front of it because of, like with the D&D movie where it was like, oh, it's going to be so woke, it's going to be so feminist, and then it turned out not to be, or same thing with like Lightyear where it was like, oh, it's going to be so LGBT friendly. and then it's literally a blink and you miss it second. So it's like, is that what they're doing? Because the game trailer doesn't feel woke.
You know,
As to
there's
whether or
only
not,
only one line, and that's my issue. And is when the girl finally talks, she absolutely disses Indy. She disrespects Indy, and I'm like,
well,
you
see,
don't.
honestly, go ahead.
And they just haven't earned
Mhm.
they haven't earned the benefit of the doubt, man.
True.
With everything
Very
that they
true.
put
No,
out,
I
it's
agree with
just
you on
like,
that
you
one.
know,
I
you
just
can't
wonder if
trust it, man.
I just wonder if Lucasfilm is kind of like what DC Animation used to be, where it was like the forgotten
Right.
section of the company where they were like, "Oh, it doesn't matter, so we don't need to infect them because they don't matter anyway." You know, and that makes me kind of wonder. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what happens when the game comes out and people start playing, and then let us know. Because honestly, like the little quip that Pablo's talking about, I was like, that kind of reminds me of like what was it, Marion? Wasn't that her name? In later Raiders of the Last Ark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
so
she
Yeah.
was the love interest.
Women were always feisty with him.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
right. So well, we don't know if this chick is a love interest or not either.
She-
So like,
She doesn't look
I
all
don't
that
know.
good, all that feminine though.
I think what's her name was like my original crush, man. What was her name that played
Karen-
Raven? She was
Karen Allen.
Karen Allen. I love that. It was just that movie. That's one of the greatest movies. You know, she drank all them dudes under the table, and the one dude just falls.
You know,
back.
the most egregious thing I have with that whole thing is the fact that that producer looks like he stole Gary Oldman's haircut in The Fifth Element.
He does.
Yeah.
Dude,
The gameplay looks
but also-
dope, man. When you're whipping stuff and all that, that looks cool as shit.
when it comes to Lucasfilm, or I miss the era of when Lucasfilm has its own studio. First, it was Lucasfilm
LucasArts?
Games, and then LucasArts. No, at the beginning it was Lucasfilm Games, and they started with Monkey Island. And Monkey Island was absolutely great. Had a character that he is mistreated by every woman he meets, Guy Bruce Streetwood, one of my favorite characters of all time. And Elaine Marley, the main love interest, she absolutely destroys Guy Bruce Streetwood at every possible situation. But then she's absolutely lovely with him, and you kind of get that sensation of she's just pushing back against Gabriel a bit. They end up together. They had a lot of that kind of dynamics, historically speaking. Even in the games that they did for Star Wars, they had a bit of a woman that will be overly strong or overly energetic. I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay. But if you are showing the return of a character that has been destroyed in 2 movies now, and this is supposed to drag people to the franchise again, you kind of need a bit more of respect, because that's what took away the audience. You disrespect.
I think the biggest thing though is the recent Lucasfilm track record, especially with Indiana Jones over the last 15 years, has not boded well. And yes, this is passed off to a video game company, but why? There's no reason to give the benefit of the doubt. I mean, let's not forget the golden rule of the modern age: you never pre-order.
And just talking modern audiences, there's a video that is coming. Andre had me watching a series of 8 episodes, 45 minutes each, around the world for 80 days, with David Tennant. That exists. David Tennant is actually really good the times when they let him act. There's real chemistry with the girl. The girl goes with the secondary character.
What is the name of it, Pablo? Around the World in 80 Days?
Around the world in 80 days, they try
Pars
to
Part
make
Two. Pars Part Two is really is really the smart one and all that crap.
Well, Passepartout, the actor is really, really good.
But Phileas Fogg's
what I
supposed to be the
hate.
smart one.
I absolutely hate that the actors are absolutely killing it when they let them, and then the story goes to shit.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, so they take you away, and sorry, but I'm starting to dislike David Tennant. I
He's doing a lot
shouldn't.
of bad stuff. It's a shame.
I
Yeah.
forgive him for his appearances in a lot of shit, including Marvel. Even Matt Smith. Matt Smith was on the worst
Yeah. He was
Terminator
actually the
movie.
best thing on that stupid Jessica Jones show.
Yeah, but Matt Smith was on the Terminator movie that was absolutely shit.
Well,
A
terrible.
gynecologist.
Yep.
And
Genolysis. Yeah.
He's supposed to be the Purple Man, damn
yeah,
it.
but
Purple
Yeah.
Man.
those are
True, but he
actors that I
still was
love.
pretty good in it, though. They should have made him the Purple Man, but they're always minimalist on those shows.
Yeah,
All right.
that was messed up.
So we got a super chat from Nick the Greek for $4.99. It says, here's $5 just cause, brother. Well, hey, thank you for the $5, sir. And you know what? We're 55 minutes into this show. We have 30 people in the chat. Holy crap. That's freaking awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for spending your Friday nights. I know there's a lot of great shows going on. I know Stone Loki's going to have his show going on. I know Doomcock has got the Frolics going on. I know Culture's on That Park Place. A lot of great shows going on. A lot of very competitive shows. A lot of good ones. And the fact that you chose us, or if you're one of those people who multiplies, does a little bit of all of them, that's awesome too. But thank you for giving whatever time it is to us. So this one's to our chat and to my brain is blanking out here. Why?
He's fried.
Huh?
He's fried.
My brain, dude, my brain is it really is fried. That's the problem. It really is. Guys, why I lost him, by the way.
You talking about
This is
Diesel?
what happens when I got new people here, and I'm Osmore, $1.99.
Oh,
Just an
Osmore,
extra
yeah.
to Osmore, $1.99. Thank you, sir.
$1.99.
This one goes out to you.
Salud.
So I want us to get into the subject now of stuff we've been reading lately. Lately I've been going back again, or in this case, again. I already talked about Wanted. I already talked about Planetary, but I want to talk about the Lee Kirby run of the Fantastic Four. And I want to talk about a certain particular issue number 29. Now, I'm going to show off the cover for this because it's got a really cool cover. And even though it's got a really cool concept involving a very huge character named the Watcher, I was going to say the Witcher, the Watcher. What really I like more about this issue for me is Ben Grimm's a personal story. The fact that a guy like him feels like he's so unworthy to be with a girl like Alicia, but yet, ironically, she feels the same way. And I'm like, oh, that's really interesting because Ben obviously he's in a forced position of humbleness because of him being a rock, and then Alicia because she's blind. And for me, that was a really human element that I was like, oh, that's actually really, really deep. That's really cool. That's really interesting. Dude, I need to own this issue, man. I need to own it. Oh, I'll wave it up, dude. I'm gonna flop.
Oh
this
yes,
thing.
dude.
I
That is
always
dope.
okay. So I'm one of those guys. I have a certain set of things that stay by me at all times. By this computer, this is one of them. This is one of them. I have to. This run here is something I've gone back to again and again. And Klobby, thank you for getting some shots to look at the gorgeous art from the king himself. Man. Dude, look at
Coloring
that
is-
cover. Oh, look how
Okay,
glorious.
this is one of the remastered issues.
Yes, remastered coloring. Yeah.
Yeah, because they messed up a bit on the cover. I'll admit. It
Where?
has the Kirby pinks, but if you see there, right next to the Watcher, that pink spot, you
Yep.
can see clearly that they cover some of the lines.
Which spot?
No, go
up
back
at
to the
top.
cover. Yeah,
Yeah, I see what you're talking
right up of the building. Face of the Watcher, and there's a bit of pink. Go
Oh
down
yeah,
a bit.
they
By
do
his
this.
elbow.
They do it all the time to these on
Yeah, I hate
omnibuses
it. I absolutely
and
hate it.
masterworks. I hate when they do it, but they do it to all these reprint books.
Also, the shadows on Ben Grimm. If you see, the shadows are too 3D-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Pencil don't get you that texture, so yeah, that
No,
feels
unfortunately, these
yeah.
sites that put these on there, they scan the when something's been reprinted in one of these nice book formats, they don't scan the old comic. I like, so some of these comics we've all been reading on here, we get they scan them right out of the old comic, which is cool because you get all the ads
Mhm.
and it
Yeah.
looks like off the newsprint. But when they've been reprinted to death like these have, they're going to do the masterworks and the essentials and the omnibuy and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I get it.
they there's a little bit I've noticed it too, just from some of the like the Transformers Marvel comics that I had, and then some of the collections of them. The colors are a little off, and you don't get a whole lot of like the little bit of details that you get in the original book. It's kind of lost, and sometimes it's almost like whereas you'd have like a gradient of color and you can see a little bit of the pencils and stuff in there, it kind of like blends it together, almost makes it flat in certain spots.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the limitations on the ink that they had at the time, so that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why the Hulk is green, because they actually had issues with the ink. At the beginning, it was gray, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Hulk was gray. That's right.
D-Bud,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
beat me to it. You beat me, and you know what? I'm not mad at all, because as you should. You have been with this comics longer than I have. It's the least you could have said and done. Yes, the story was closely adapted. I love that episode. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, I have that
So
one.
that is awesome to see that someone who mentioned that. Yeah, I really enjoy this issue, and having a villain, like, obviously his villain nowhere near notable as like the Mole
Red,
Man.
Red.
Per
I
se.
always
Condor?
like Red Ghost is always with his gorillas. Always
But
like him.
I do enjoy Red Ghost for what he is, and I like that I felt like he still had a good constructed plan to give the F4 a
Yeah,
run
and
for their money.
He
And I
never
feel like
wears red either.
say that again.
Oh yeah.
And he never wears red, by the way. Anyway.
No, he didn't. But I love, for me, what really made this comic resonate with me, this particular issue at most, was Ben Grimm's story. Even though I'm a loud and proud Johnny Storm guy, maybe even borderline shill. That's the closest you'll ever hear me admit to being a shill on anything. A shill on Johnny Storm. This story is all about Ben Grimm for me in that regard. Even though there's a lot of great action and it moves fast, I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to read this issue again. And rereading it, just, man, it really hit the spot. It's like I took a giant swig of Maker's Mark, and I was just like, can I have more, please? And that's what this comic did. It straight up gave me that immediate thought of wanting more. And here I am, and I'm like, I feel like now I need to reread this this comic book Bible in my hand, just to say, you know what, fuck it, we're just gonna start over, and then now I'm gonna dive 1 through 30 into 100. I think
been a
it's
while for
only
me.
inevitable somewhere down the line that
Yeah, it's been a while
talking
since
about
I've
some of
done
these
this.
issues.
Since I've read them all the way through. Yeah, so.
I've read these all the way through. Oh
No,
yeah.
I'm saying it's been a while since I've done that all the way
really?
through.
Has it?
Oh yeah, it's been years since I had read the Masterworks. I'm more like once in a while go back and visit a few hand-picked issues here and there. For example, I probably hadn't read this issue in 10 years or so, but I've read them all many times. I'm saying it's for like all the way through 1 to 100, 102 if you want to be, all the Kirby, the Kirby issues. It's been like a while since I've done the whole distance that, but I've been thinking about doing that soon. Going back.
We may have to do an idea then for that. Just saying, I'm planting the seed.
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
That may have to be our next thing. That might have to be like a seasonally episodic thing or something. Just
here you go.
To entertain, because I think that would make so much sense to do. Just saying, I planted the seed now. I mean,
Nice.
I could pull a Stone Cold Steve Austin bag. If you want the climbing, I talk Fantastic Four Kirby. Give me a
Now-
hell yeah.
Now, a couple years ago, when I first moved to YouTube, the late great Mark C, rest his soul, and my buddy Mark, the great Mark C, as he's called, we did the Galactus trilogy. We reviewed that, of course. Not that it could ever, not that there's anything wrong with reviewing it again, of course.
Oh, of course.
Dude,
that's a
I
great
love the
comic
header.
here. Pablo, were you trying to say something?
Yeah, I absolutely love the header. It's so old school. The world's greatest comic magazine.
I love that headline. I love it. I see that headline. I'm like, I miss those types of things in comics. I really do.
Yes.
I see those things. That's what gets me to be like,
The theatrality, man. The theatrality was absolutely worth it.
Dude,
Putin's cat. No, he did not, and he should. And I'm going to be on Tom about it until he does. I'm not letting it go. The fact that Tom has not released it because, I got work to do. No, Tom, I'm sorry. No, actually, I'm not sorry. I'm lying. I'm not sorry. That song is perfect the way it is. Shut up and release it and make your money. Just come on. Just stop. It doesn't need work. Don't give me that fancy dancy stuff.
I have really got to read the Fantastic Four. I've read a few books. I used to have when I was a kid in elementary school. I used to get this book from the library, and it was like a collection. It was a few of the comics, and it was put together in like a book for a kid. It had like the issue where they first were exposed. They went in the ship and first got exposed to the cosmic radiation and everything. And it was so cool. I kept checking it out, and somebody had like stole my bag at one time at the basketball court or something, and it disappeared. But I used to read that over and over again. But this is like the Fantastic Four is like they're just like it's like comic royalty, man, and like
they are the first family.
I said Ben Grimm is like this tragic character to me, man, and it was everything about the guy's like he's just put into this situation, and at heart he's got like such a good heart, and he's got like a gentle soul. I mean, you don't want to like rile, when he gets riled up, but he's just feel for the poor guy who was just he's trapped in this big hulking body and everything. That's why this issue I have read this.
That's why he's my favorite.
Yeah, he's such a good character.
He measures to it. That's the point on the thing. That
in those early issues, if you go back and read those early issues of FF, Ben's very angry. Obviously, he walks that abyss. He's scary. He's a scary character. And if you're a young reader at that time and don't know any better, like all of us when we revisit it, we all know who the Thing is, and you go in there knowing it's a hero. You'd almost think, is he gonna turn out to be the bad guy of the piece? Will he turn out to be? You don't know. Back when if you're reading it in a linear fashion, because Ben, I mean, he did the right thing, but he's pretty pissed off for a while there, and that's why he's my favorite all-time character.
Resentful.
Usually in this type of fiction, a few things. Again, it's power fantasy fiction, right? But for lack of a better term, clumsy term, but still. And there are a couple of things that go on. A person acquires superpowers, and if it doesn't do anything to their outward physical appearance. They either become a hero because they want to use it to do the right thing, or of course they decide to go, use it for their own, selfish ends. But if one is turned into a, physically and outwardly an outcast, a monster, if you will, outwardly mutated or whatever, which also happens in this type of fiction, usually they become bad. They're hounded. Everyone's afraid of them. It turns them bitter because they can't live a normal life anymore, and they turn to evil. And Ben walked that precipice for a while, and of course he didn't fall in because of the kind of person he was. That's why he's just one of the great heroes. There was in the JLA Avengers crossover, I'll never forget. There's a bit in there where Batman, who's very quick tempered and very aggravated, he meets Ben Grimm for a few minutes. And he actually, he makes some kind of crack about him. And Captain America just comes to him and says, "Let me tell you something. Ben J. Grimm is one of the finest men I've ever known." When Captain America's endorsing you, because he knew what kind of guy Ben Grimm is, telling Batman, getting in Batman's face about it, that's pretty damn good.
I didn't know they had a crossover like that. That had to have been.
Oh yeah.
That had to have been like one of the greatest books ever, just to see those characters interacting like that.
Well, the first one was planned, and it's a long story, not to go off too long, but the first one was planned in the early 80s, and then Jim Shooter ruined it after about 40-something pages were drawn by George Perez. So that lineup of the JLA and JSA, that's the one I wanted to see. Well, almost 20-something years later, even though he's one of my favorite writers, Kurt Busiek, and got together with George Perez, and they drew a 4-issue miniseries. And it's the same basic kind of plot they were doing, but the rosters had changed to the point where I didn't want to read it. I was mad at it because I didn't like some of the members of each of the JLA and the Avengers. But it's an okay story. It's been a while since I've read it. I might go back and review it soon. It's only 4 issues, and there's a lot of cool stuff in it, especially Superman wielding the hammer and Cap's shield.
Sweet, dude. So fix it up.
Yes, because Superman is worthy.
Yes.
Of course, Superman's worthy.
Yeah, it's it is good though. At the time, it was a modern. I hated both modern rosters in the comic, especially the Justice League. God, it had Kyle Rayner and anyway.
Yeah,
it's a good. It's an interesting read just for the crossover itself. Another interesting point is someone I just found on Facebook. A fan went and got Perez's a lot of that original art from the Perez story and colored it, and then added a bunch of pages to it, doing his own style. Finished that early 80s story and put it online. Incidentally, one other note, in 1994, I got to watch George Perez sell the 40-some-odd original art pages to that story to Rob Liefeld for $20,000. I got to see the exchange of pages and money. I'm like, oh, my God.
You were there?
Right there, yep.
Wow.
That is cool.
I want to go grab Liefeld with a neck and say, "I'll take those pages, boy."
Don't worry, Clobby. They're gonna go right on. They're gonna go right into his little locker, right
Yeah.
next to his Conan sword.
Let me tell you something. I don't like his art, and I make fun of him. But he was nice to me at that con, even though but not only that, he's a doofus in some ways. But the guy loves comics. He's around my age, and he really loves the good stuff. I got to say
He
that
also
for
is
him.
really respectful with fans too.
He is
like
that, and he was
I
good
have
to Jack.
heard
He was good to Jack
stories
Kirby,
from
by the
people
way.
who've met him at cons, and
Yeah, he's good.
he loves taking
Good
his
guy.
time with fans. I'll give him that credit there too. He loves. Yeah, apparently, almost every person who I've asked who's met him, one of the common words I hear is he's very energetic and he's very.
He knows his old
enthusiastic,
comics too,
and
yeah.
he loves going off about comics. And
Cool.
on Mark Miller's Miller Time podcast, him and
They're friendly,
Rob Liefeld on for an episode, and hearing Rob talk about comics is, it's contagious. I gotta get when I listen.
And Millar
I
too.
listen to
Millar
Crowder.
loves comics, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I will give him that. Like he is a fan of the medium. He understands the medium, and you want to talk about him, and trust me, you get him on a Kirby tangent because I watched his show with Billy Tucci recently. Him and Billy Tucci talking, and man, once Tucci mentioned Kirby, the show straight up derailed so Liefeld could talk about Kirby, and he didn't let up. And Tucci just kind of egged him on even more to just keep going, and he just kept going.
Rob and the Image guys were really good to Kirby, and I really appreciated that.
He was very vocal about how important it was to have the blessing from Jack Kirby. Because I can't remember, was it Jim Valentino? He said having the blessing from Jack Kirby was like having the blessing from the Pope at the time.
It was, and they were, and also even Jim Lee, all those guys. I remember telling Jim Lee that years later at one of those events at the French Comic Time, I said, I really appreciate what all you guys did for Jack Kirby. And he was like, well, of course, they all loved him. And so, and I wasn't the biggest Image fan of comics. I didn't tell him that. But, I really appreciated that, though. Yeah.
Okay. I acknowledge a few comments, and then we're going to pass the baton to a few gentlemen of what they've been reading. What's up, Paul Freese? How you doing, buddy? Hello from Michigan. Our guy, Jason Sandberg. How you doing, man?
Hey, son.
And subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Vagabundo Devon. Thank you. Neil has a great count here that I'm going to now need to do my own homework on, admittedly. I really hate how no movie or outside media really captured what made the four great. Susan Storm is one of my favorite characters in comics and underrated. I can verify on underrated and underrated in comics too, especially Burns' run with her. And I have not read that run, but that alone sells me on wanting to do that. And that's good to know that there are those people who really appreciate that character like that. That's awesome.
I love
I
Sue.
know about that run. I've been meaning to. Maybe this will be the motivation for me to do that a lot
Well,
closer to now than a lot closer to my death per se.
well,
And
I didn't like what he did with
hinted
turning
at
her into
earlier
Malice.
about me,
Yeah.
Claudia, and him talking F4. We might have to talk, man. I think that's something we should definitely entertain. We'll talk.
Yeah, I love
And
Sue.
Davina, one last great comment here, much earlier, and you never be able to afford to buy these runs as single back issues. So the omnibus are a godsend for conquerors. Thank you. This is
Oh, I love
something
them.
for all my buddies who are single issue purists, which, hey, I respect their grind. I respect if they got the capital to go out and seek it out, just make it happen. That's great. But I love, especially having that collected
Oh yeah,
edition.
I love an
love
omnibus.
it. Big fan. Especially
Yeah,
for guys like me. I can't afford to get that many of those issues for those prices. It's just like if I could just get the collected edition, but see, that's great for me because I'm a reader. I'm a reader first who happens to have collected all these things. I'm not a collector first. I'm a collector second.
same here.
Reader first, collector second.
That's the spirit, man.
Same here, buddy.
So that's where I'm at. But Clubby, I'm gonna pass
Yes,
the
sir.
baton off to you of comics you've been enjoying and reading lately. I know you mentioned a little bit earlier. If you want to expand on it, you can. Otherwise, you just want to mention something else entirely, you can do that. I knew you were talking about Daredevil, the legendary Frank Miller run. You want to go over that again? Great. If not, something else. But tell the chat what you've been reading lately. Let them know about the stuff that's good.
Well, I tell you, so, you know, a lot of us here review a lot of comics. Up until the past 2-3 weeks, which are on my good buddy J Man's channel, which we just started 3 weeks ago, reviewing Miller's Daredevil run. I'll get back to that in a second, but it took us 19 shows, 19 weeks on Friday nights. We reviewed all of Jack Kirby's Fourth World Saga. And even though there was a clunky type of way it was ended because of things that happened way back when to Kirby, as far as with regards to finishing his Fourth World, it was a blast of a ride. It had been ages since I'd gone back and pieced all those together and read them. Of course, now again, we talked about omnibuses, with omnibuses and omnibuy or whatever things like that, it's a lot easier to get a reading order, to do it with. So that made it easy. And we reviewed them all. We did like 3 issues for a while, and it started in Jimmy Olsen, and we did it in there's a chronological reading order. Like some weeks we would have to read New Gods Forever People, Mr. Miracle, then Jimmy Olsen, New Gods Forever People. It had them all and we did them all in order until like the last couple of shows we did, because again, like I say, he got kind of abruptly ended up, getting kind of run out of DC and didn't get to finish it all properly. Then he went back in DC, the new regime at DC in the mid-80s let him finish it. However, so if you can, via omnibus, because there is an omnibus that has the whole Fourth World Saga, or any other way, if you can get a chance to go back and read those in that order, I don't recommend much. It is very much some of the dialogue's crazy and stuff. The ideas and the action, of course, and if you love Kirby art, it's some of his finest art, in my opinion, some of his greatest art. And J-Man and Sean and I, we just had a blast every week reading that stuff. It made us feel like kids again. They're a lot younger than me, and well, who isn't, right? So they never read any of it. This is their first time, and it's been a while since I had done it. It was just a sheer joy. Like I said, I think we did it in 19 streams that went over almost 2.5 hours, whatever it was. So in other words, there's a lot there and a lot to digest. It was brilliant. If you read that, you almost come away saying, man, if someone were to do an animated film that looked like the Kirby art, or even a live action film, I don't think so. Thank God we never got a New Gods movie. Holy crap, did we dodge a bullet? You have no idea, especially if you read that thing. So if anyone ever adapted the Fourth World Saga, this is a saga on a level of which very few comic books ever were. In terms of how
you don't want
dense.
you mean you don't want a Snyderverse Fourth World movie?
We almost got. Look, they used some chunks, some small chunks of it. Yeah, and no, I don't want that, sir. And we fortunately we'll never get that, but we'll never get any version of it. As you know, Caster, you laugh, but we almost got a New Gods movie. That's
I
what the
remember.
New Gods movie is. What gave us that stupid Eternals movie.
So Klobby, this is you. You've read this, you've known this story for a while. So these guys, this is like the first time reading it, and you get to experience that with them. That is so cool because you get to see their reaction and how they feel about something that you love for a long time. That's awesome.
And they're a lot younger than me. Again, like I said, I know everyone is, but point is, they're from a bit of a farther down generation than I am. They love. I mean, they love the art, of course. But the ideas, Kirby. I mean, this is a man who, if you know Jack Kirby, or if you knew anything about him, he had a head so full of ideas he almost couldn't function in normal society like everyone else. It was at some point when he got a little bit older, they stopped letting him drive anywhere because he would be thinking so much he couldn't concentrate on driving. He was constantly creating things. You can't, if you read that Fourth World Saga, even though you've read a lot of comics in your life, you may think you're jaded. You go back and read that, you realize, of course, a lot of the ideas that you may have seen in some other comics came from Kirby, who, by the way, he was an innovator. So, in other words, he did use other ideas that were from his youth and things he read. That's what an innovator does. But you'll read these things and you go, oh my God, the amount of creativity, not to mention how brilliant the art is. It's just in the characters.
So I do have one question for you, Klobby, about Fourth World Bat. Would you recommend the omnibus of it? Are there any issues with coloring on it?
When we're going through it, I was looking at it through the thing. In other words, most of the scans are normal on that site that we were just looking at with the FF thing. They weren't like the FF one there. They were from regular old comics. So we had the ads and the letters pages. But my friend Sean, who reviewed it on the channel with us, he has the omnibus, which is a monster. I mean, it's gigantic. And yes, we noted all the different the recolorings. There was not every time, not all of it, but once in a while, they did recolor something. But they've been doing that since the Masterworks of the early 90s when they first started coming out with Marvel Masterworks and DC Archives. But they've been doing it.
The books that get the remastered editions or the collected editions are the ones when it hits the online, they get the recolored pages. It's the stuff that doesn't get the collected editions, the omnibus. You get the original pages with the ads and all.
Well, Neil Adams did it to one of his books, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Hard Traveling Heroes.
He did it himself.
He did it he did a book back I think it was late 90s. I remember buying it. It was a big 2-edition slip cover that held 2 editions of all of his Green Lantern, Green Arrow run with Denny O'Neil, the Hard Traveling Heroes. I could not wait to get that sucker. I don't mind it being with a new coloring process or anything like that. I still have it on my shelf right now. I remember buying this thing and I said, oh, it wasn't cheap either, by the way. Oh my God, why would you do this to your own comic? The colors are so garish and ugly and disgusting. See, the recoloring you guys are talking about, it's not that bad. It is recolored, it's not that bad. This is like he took a bunch of really ugly oil paints or whatever, just is finger painted all over it. It's awful. It's the worst recoloring, and he did it with Batman. His Batman volumes too. And I'm like, why in the hell would it? Oh God, I'm stuck to this day. I can't take it. I can't look at it without getting aggravated. So these recolorings we're talking about, compared to that, it's not. I don't prefer it. By the way, I'm not saying I'm not defending it. Just like my first Marvel Masterworks that had to come in with Galactus back in the mid-90s, the idiots. Galactus is sleeveless and he has short pants in his first appearance in the comic.
I have seen
they
that.
Painted sleeves and pants on him.
Yes.
Assholes. And I remember reading that thing because it was a beautiful book, right? I mean, this is so cool. I get to Galactus, I'm like, wait a minute.
Who did this?
He didn't have pants. I mean, look, New York was hot that time of year. Galactus said, I'll show up in my my beach wear. Why not? While I eat the planet.
None shall question Galactus's skirt.
Well, I mean, but why color it? Just leave it. Oh man, I was so pissed off. But Nick, to answer your question, that was one, and of course we started the Frank Miller run on Daredevil, and perfect timing with the first three. When Miller started the book, remember Frank Miller, the guy that Neil Adams told had no talent, told him to his face,
Ooh.
he had no talent. Now
Neil
Neil
Adams
Adams,
is brutal, man.
brutal. So
Very brutal.
Frank was barely scraping by, getting as much work at Marvel and covers and different things. Well, he got the Daredevil gig as the penciler, but Roger McKenzie, he was also a really nice guy, and he told us some stories about that back in the 80s when we met him. But he was the scribe at the time. Daredevil was bi-monthly, and it was on the way out. Of the comp limped along for 150 something issues, and it was toast. And for some reason, they still needed it, to fill up. They had to have the title to run a little bit longer. They let Miller do it, and they started getting some noise. I remember I bought it on and off. When I bought that first one when he's fighting the Hulk, I'm like, this art's weird but different but amazing. And it was, the stories were, he started to get in on the plots as well, but it wasn't until 168 that he started penciling. We've just done everything up to 168 just to do them because Miller did that. But now we're starting with Elektra's first appearance. We're starting next week with Miller writing it and everything. But it was supposed to be, the issue before that was supposed to be Miller, the Punisher, with him and McKenzie, and that got turned down by the Comics Code, so they didn't print it. So the first, the last appearance was supposed to be a McKenzie Miller story with the Punisher called Child's Play about drugs, and Marvel, in their infinite wisdom, couldn't get the Comics Code on it, so they didn't want to print it. They didn't want to print it without one. It got printed later, though, when the book started becoming a hit. It was rescued from being about to be canceled to became, at that time, this is 1980. I'm like 16 years old. I've never seen anything like it. I'd never seen anything like that book. And it just kept getting better and better. I'm like rewatching the Daredevil TV show now, and I'm like, I don't know why they don't call that Frank Miller's Daredevil. They ripped off so much for that TV show. They never put his name on it. So it's a brilliant read. It's been a while since I've gone back and read those, but you, Nick, and I, we had a lot of fun reviewing Born Again, which my opinion is his greatest story he ever wrote. But
dude, by a landslide. And you and I have had this conversation a lot of times. Look, I respect the influence, once again, the cultural influence that The Dark Knight Returns had. But for me, Daredevil, Born Again is so much better, and it's not even close. Not even close.
Agreed.
So,
and you can, it's only 7 issues. It's a short read, and you could recommend that to anyone. And you don't have to read Miller's original run for that, but you should.
Oh yeah, no, you
guys
should. But if you're someone who can't, maybe somehow you're one of those people who says, "Yeah, I don't want to use it. I want to actually buy it and support it, but I can't get everything." Okay, well then, all right, just read Born Again. But if you're someone who's definitely got the capital and want to read it the old-fashioned way, the entire run, it's absolutely worth it, especially that build up. That is to me, a textbook example of one of the best payoffs. Oh,
158 through 191, I think, will be the whole run. But although he started writing at 168 through 191. What were you saying, Common? I'm sorry, buddy.
Well, no, that was going to say before I was on this show every Friday night. I asked you guys one time, what's a good Daredevil thing to get into? And you guys told me Born Again. And so I bought it and I fucking read it. And holy shit. Yeah, it was absolutely incredible.
It's a masterpiece. And Miller didn't even draw it.
Well, and now you guys are like, oh, by the way, the build up before all of that is great too. I'm like, well, shit, why did you guys tell me that then? Now I gotta go read that shit too.
Yeah, you can't have Born Again without the build up. But still, it stands alone. But you're good. You're good on that one as far as Common. But yeah, now you can go back and it might provide some context, but it's not that connected. Again, Miller did not even draw. Mazzucchelli drew. And that's why the art's so brilliant.
Mazzucchelli is amazing.
He's even better than Miller. I got to say, I hate to say it.
But
Miller's great, though.
Quite a bit better. No offense, no disrespect. I'd argue he's quite a bit better.
One thing about Miller, there was a saying Miller came out after he hit it as a comic book superstar. In interviews, Miller preferred Batman to Daredevil. He says, Daredevil is small potatoes compared to Batman. I don't necessarily agree. I love Daredevil as well, but he basically wrote Daredevil as he would have written Batman if he were allowed to do it, which of course later was allowed to do it. But he changed Daredevil, which was a bit of a more of a out of the light type of character, into the dark. But even still, it was at the time when you're 16 years old, comics aren't edgy, and you might get out of comics, even though you love superheroes, and you get this, and like he's running around fighting freaking ninjas, and you got Electric running gutting people, and you got Bullseye turn into the wacko that he turned him into, and he steals the Kingpin from Spider-Man and uses him brilliantly. It's just what a ride it was, man, and it's a great comic. And it changed comics.
Awesome.
So
I'm gonna go back and
straight up, man. Yeah, Mazzucchelli is a legend, and I do enjoy it. I mean, I don't know how Claudia feels, but it's not as good. And I'll even side with Richard Meyer that I feel like the finish of it kind of tumbles a little bit. But boys, it's still overall a good run, and I will give Innocenti credit for she created a lot of characters. She created a notable villain with Typhoid Mary, and she had a great explosive first issue for the run. So she still had a lot of good highs in her run. So I would say, if you like Miller's run and you want more Daredevil after that, Innocenti is a good run to go for.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a defying run, but it's still a good, solid, strong run. And she really definitely, even though she was basically an 80s hippie, she was a hippie of the 80s from New York.
Yeah,
she
was.
still understood Daredevil. So, yeah.
Miller set the tone. By the way, Miller set the tone. He and Alan Moore destroyed comics, but they destroyed it with great comics. If that makes any sense to you.
Comics, it does. Because you and I
by great comics.
And I know
the copycats
on that too.
Yeah, it's the copycats, the ones that wanted to be the same but didn't have the talent, the ones that destroyed.
Yeah, you set the bar too high for one thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and Neil, I love, and I mean, I cherish the Brubaker run. Especially, I mean, it's easy. I know it's safe to say, especially if you're a Daredevil Brubaker fan. But A Devil in Cell Block D, that first arc is my favorite. I know a lot of people say that, but I think a lot of us say it for the reason. It's just that good. Obviously, the rest of the stuff is still good after, but that first arc was it. I remember when that was fresh and new at the shop I was going to at the time, and that was like it was one of those things like what happens when Daredevil is stuck in prison with all these villains he put in jail that never got out. The villains that stayed in prison. Because in comics, villains usually always get out of prison. But there's those ones who stayed, and there's some recent ones who were put there. What happened in that situation? That was such a bold thing to do, and Brubaker absolutely nailed it. And I think it was Michael Lark on arc. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think
he's pretty good.
Huh?
He's a pretty good artist.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed it. I feel like he really nailed that really, really scary atmosphere that Matt Murdock was in because you're in jail, your identity is outed, and now you're stuck with all these guys you put away. Oh man, what a powerful story. Powerful story.
By the way, Dearest is right. Dearest, I'm just saying it tongue in cheek, facetiously that they destroyed comics.
Oh yeah,
because in fact, the way Moore believed that they did and Miller didn't. I'm being facetious when I say that they set this precedent and what monkey see, monkey do when it comes to comics. But yeah. Oh, you knew that though. Yeah. By the way, Davina says something interesting. She loves Frank Miller's Ronin. That's a very different book. If you want something that was just so not of it. I mean, so far ahead of its time in terms of no one was quite ready for it. But his superstardom made DC hire him and let him do whatever he wanted, and they did Ronin. I don't know if any of you read Ronin, but at the time, I had a conflict with the guy who owned the shop I was running. I said, I don't think we should order too much of this because it's not like an established character, even though it's Frank Miller. He said, it's Frank Miller. We're ordering 100 of copies. So like, what? Are you crazy? But it's an interesting book, though, and a lot of people did love Ronin. So, yeah.
All right, before we transition over to the common nerd. And I want to acknowledge Mr. Conquest here. So next, Marvel Team. Now, if you want to do Team, you could do some of the classic Power Man, Iron Fist stuff. I know Cassie mentioned the Immortal Iron Fist from Ed Brubaker. I'm trying to think of it. See, I was not much of a team book guy besides the F4. So I'm just gonna make it easy and say continue reading that original run of the F4. That's there's nothing revolutionary about what I'm saying. I'm basically beating a dead horse with it, but continue reading, my friend. I don't know if you read it, but it's a singles book. But dude, the Starlin Warlock stuff.
We covered that one, didn't we? We need to do
did.
Captain Marvel run next.
Dude. Who, the death of Captain Marvel?
No, the whole thing, his whole run on it, and then
the run of Captain. Okay,
and close off with the death of Captain Marvel.
I mean, dude, that sounds awesome.
So I know he's reading through some of the X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men right now, because we're seeing the photos on Gilded.
Yes, that's right. He's reading that. He's reading the Byrne Claremont.
I want to point out that if you're going to do that, you should also then check out the little side book, The New Mutants. This is a team I fell in love with because they sort of took the idea of let's bring in the next generation of mutants, but we're not going to make them soldiers. We're going to try to not make them like have to go through all the hoops and the fights that we have to deal with. And then they get into so much trouble along the way, especially when I wouldn't say it's too much of a spoiler, but at this point, certainly these are like 35-year-old comics. But at one point, Magneto becomes the headmaster of the Xavier Institute. So now you have Magneto as the professor overseeing these students.
Yeah.
Which brings in a great dynamic there. Plus, it builds into a lot of other big events, such as most notably Inferno, where all hell runs loose throughout New York City.
Okay, let's answer this for Osmora 199. Now, I don't know how well versed you are in comics, since I know you're new here to the show. Let's fill him in on the gaps of Another Death.
I think he's being tongue-in-cheek with Carol.
Okay, maybe he is, maybe not.
Oh,
I'm still we're
As
still
well,
trying to get to know our newer viewers here. So
we were referring
like
to
Five Pico, Dearest. We have a feel for them. We know what they're thinking, kind of, and what they liking. So that's why I'm like, oh, we should probably ponder what he's meaning by that. And he might be. You might be right. He might be tongue in cheek with it. But Common Nerd. What have you been enjoying in the world?
My newborn baby girl.
So you haven't had a chance to read. Good, man.
I really haven't had a chance to read much. I've been doing some audiobooks just because I can do audiobooks and other things at the same times. So I've been doing some more Caiaphas Cain. Like I've talked about this all the time, the Warhammer 40K stuff. Like the books are just hilarious. They're really good. I was laughing. I made 5 gallons of wine yesterday. And I was listening to those books the entire time, just giggling and like laughing my ass off, like and doing backbreaking work at the exact same time. And it's just like, so that's just what I've been enjoying. Cause I think life's been hectic and I'm finally just now starting to get back to a regular schedule. So
in terms of like the Warhammer audiobooks, I was just recently going through the Infinite and the Divine.
I've heard good things about those ones. I haven't gone through them. I'm still stuck on getting through all the Caiaphas Cain, and there's like 12 of them. So
which I love it because one of the actors they have doing voices for it sounds like the guy who does Hondo in like Star Wars in the Clone Wars.
Oh, nice.
So it's like he's always got this kind of voice up here, and I'm waiting for him to go and say Jedi.
Yeah. No, the voice actors they have for those audiobooks are always absolutely incredible. The guy that does Caiaphas is just spot on, and just the way they enunciate everything and just their influx on the word. They do an incredible job doing those, and all the great little extra voices you have. And like, they make sure that they bring back, if they had an actor play a voice in a book, 4 books ago, they make sure they bring the same voice actor back for it later down the road. Yeah. So they're very consistent with all that kind of stuff too. Like, Caiaphas has had a constant companion essentially since book 1, and it's always been played by the exact same voice actor. It always sounds the same. So yeah, they do a great job on a lot of that stuff. If you're somebody that's got a lot going on and doesn't have a lot of time to just sit down and read, those audiobooks are great for that kind of stuff. So yeah.
When they do that, do they have any kind of, just curious, like, do they just read it, or do they have any kind of like sound effects or background in anything in any part of that, or do they just read it?
Not in the Warhammer 40K books. But what the nice part about it is it feels more like a play, because you hear the dialogue going back and forth between different characters, because even though you're most of the time in the head of one character the entire time, because when they have the conversations, they use different voice actors. So it's more like watching a play minus the background. Cool. So yeah, there's not explosions or anything, but yeah, like I said, it's like watching a play minus the background.
I've got an old record. It's War of the Worlds, but it's not like the Orson Welles thing. What it is it's basically like you're listening to like a TV show, or say it's like a radio drama. And it was just them acting the thing out, and they had different things for sound effects, like horses running and some other stuff, like with the heat ray. It was pretty neat, though, man. It was just, it's one of these things. I think it was probably made maybe in like, I don't know, like the 60s or something like that. It's just, they did a bunch of stuff like Time Machine, stuff like that. I just wondered if, like, some of those books, if they actually added a little audio drama in there for it, too.
No, but I'm sure there's books that do that kind of thing, because that stuff's awesome. But yeah, that was like the 1920s and all of that kind of stuff when Orson Welles was doing all those kind of things. He's the one that started a lot of that, using those sound effects and everything else. Yeah, that stuff's, and you have no idea. It's like some of those sounds that he originally created with like freaking giant saw blades and stuff like that are still the same effects that Hollywood uses to these days, because the sound was just so iconic.
The way that this thing was weird. They had like something that was like supposed to be horses' hooves running, and it was just the voice acting and all this kind of stuff. I think is just, I don't know. I love that kind of stuff. Watching a lot of cartoons and figuring out who did what.
Welcome to Schultmergler. How you doing, man? Love your
most of the black
avatar. Anything else common? Will that be it, sir?
No, that's about it. I've just been playing video games and hanging out with the baby and trying to get back into my normal routine over here. So yeah, hopefully I get some chance to start reading some stuff again next week. We'll see what happens. Or hopefully somebody gives me a reading assignment. That would be nice too. Because if I got one of those, then I guarantee you I'd have something to read.
Speaking of reading assignments, got this for everyone in the chat who's here. February 2nd, we'll be talking X-Men God Loves, Man Kills. So I know some of you in the chat already know that, but this is a great way to remind yourself, because Caster pitched the idea, and it's about time that we do it. And I know he's been very adamant and patient. I'll have to include the word patient, especially with me, about this. So we're going to do this. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. I know this is going to be huge. This is going to be wild. So February 2nd. So basically, next week we get C.S. Johnson. It'd be awesome to have her back, just chatting it up, And then the week after, X-Men. Guys, it's a 1-2-3 punch. You get tonight, CS next week, X-Men the week after. This is going to be just fun Fridays for all. So it's going to be good, friendly, violent fun for all. So let's have fun with it. And thank you for watching the video, Davina. It helps that I have great men like Ironcastle and Aaron Sparrow to make it as good as it was. Without those guys, it would have not been half as good. So I thank those two guys for being the reason it's as good as it is. But thank you. All right. Oh, and of course, our gentleman, Eric K. Hey, dude, don't worry, man. I know. Don't even sweat it, dude. You take care of the big channels. We got good guys over here. All right. We're all good, Eric. I'm just glad you dropped in. I'm good with that, man. Honest, it's all good. All right. So, Pablo, what have you been enjoying lately?
Oh, well, I kind of enjoyed the Zorro comic. That was an interesting read. I will say read the first issue before getting it in your list, because you I don't know how to say it. I was really worried that I will hate it because of some things that were on the pages, and I'm being really vague because I want I want Caster to
Well,
read it.
isn't
But
isn't it also only like a 3 issue limited series? Because I think I saw somewhere that it's only said to
really,
be, yeah.
because the setup actually will work for a longer story. I will be
I
honest.
I can I can double check.
Yeah, this for the setup, this actually could go for a really long time, and it's something that Zoro is really good at, because even if you kill a lot of characters that in this story people will die, even if you do that, there's still always somebody to fight for Zoro, because Zoro is not just fighting against one or one enemy, is fighting against what's rot in the system. And that's the fun of Zoro. He is the hero that goes against anybody that messes against the population. So I will see it being a recurring thing. Even if they go for a short story, they can go back to this world and have another story. It's really fit for that. It will be a shame if they go the route of just 3 issues.
I mean,
Uh,
I could be wrong, but for some reason I thought I saw it as only a 3 issue, or at the very least, I only see about 3 issues listed. So it might go further.
hmm, it will be a waste. There's some good. At least at the end, there's something really, really good that I enjoyed a lot. I wrote the the Transformers comic. Can we talk spoilers? Are
We're
we
gonna
allowed?
talk it real soon.
Which
We're
Okay,
which
wait
issue did you
once
read?
we transition to these dudes.
the last issue, issue 4.
Okay.
We'll talk Transformers. Trust me, I know we're all antsy. I know we got some excited faces. I get it. Just we gotta hold off
Mhm.
on. I know it's tough, but
Yeah.
right now
Uh,
we're just being face value here, saying what we're enjoying. That's what's up, Tim Hayes and Sim Inkslayer. I know, guys. I get it. We're excited. That's good. I'm glad we're excited, but Pablo, just fish off what you've been
yeah.
enjoying, and then we
The worst
will.
part is the other thing that I have been reading is something that I also cannot spoil because it's getting really, really good, really, really hot, and that's One Piece. That is
I had a
escalating.
feeling.
Last issue was absolutely a banger. This issue goes beyond that, and I don't know how is okay after at least Desrosa with Doflamingo. I was a bit underwhelmed with the villains. Then they have Big Mom, that was a really interesting villain, but it went for too long. It was excessive in some places. It was still really good. They got to Wano, and Wano is one banger after another, and you are like, this can get bigger, this can get better. We are on Egghead, and it's getting way better. And when I say way better, it's like I have never had so many feels.
Well, the other thing is also like kind of knowing what's been teased for like where they're gonna go next. Like we know there's certain islands that they've basically teased like within recent chapters that we're gonna go to next. Plus the fact that Oda basically just came out and said, "Yeah, it's gonna be a couple. We're gonna have a couple more years of One Piece
Yeah, even the anime is going really, really fast. I thought that they will have another just garbage filler,
filler."
because that's what they normally do. They finish a really good arc, they have filler, and then they go to their next really good arc. Here, in the anime, they went straight up with Egghead, even though it was not something that they they should do, because Oda takes a long time for his mangas. He's 3 weeks, 1 week off, so the material will run out really, really soon. They are really, really close to where we are on the manga. That episode was really great. There's one issue that people have been talking, and we get a revelation for the age of a character that her powers allow her to basically go into her future self. So yeah, we have been drooling for a character that is really boosty, really, really hot. Oda threw a curveball. He's like,
Well, it's
by the way, she's 12.
yeah, it's a character that we've seen up to this point depicted as a very attractive female, much like every other female that Oda
Mhm.
draws, only to be revealed a decade after she was introduced that, by the way, she's using her power to age herself up. She's actually 12.
Yeah, more than a decade. She was presented on Shabondi, so she will be fifth, almost 17 years from her first appearance. And yeah, that was an absolute curveball. And that has a lot of people on Twitter going after Oda, wishing him death and everything, because
Not even him. Some of the animators who
oh
worked
yeah,
on the
yeah, 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 yeah.
episode.
It's a really weird situation, because yeah, it was a character that Oda was preparing to get a backlash, because it was a character that he wanted to have a backlash for, and it's expected what we are getting. But the issue is that her story that is being explored on this arc is absolutely destroying my heart, because it's one of the things that goes straight to the feelings in every possible way. And trust me,
And I have to imagine it can be especially true for especially for any parent.
yeah, if you have a kid, if you have ever had even care for somebody, because there's some context there, you don't even need to be a biological father to know if a kid is in danger, you will fucking wreck anybody in the middle. Don't get in the
And
way.
you'll sacrifice anything
Yeah.
to be able to protect them.
I'll tell you what it's exactly like, man. You know, in the first Avengers movie, when Loki puts on he gets the staff and he goes and he talks to the guy from Thanos. I forget the guy's name. He's got the mask on his face and he goes, "There's no barren moon where we cannot find you." That is what you're like if somebody messes with your kid, man. That feeling right there, man. It's like there's no barren moon where I can't find you. You know. Anyway, that's all right.
No, absolutely, man. You're on point, and that's the thing that it's been portrayed on One Piece, and yeah, it's getting me destroyed. It's toying with my heart all the time.
So needless to say, Nick, you need to get the next volume.
Okay, you have my word, and this is big because I don't say these words often. Next week, I'll have more One Piece to read. Bet. Okay, you can bet with me, Cass. You can text me. You have my number. You can monitor me.
And then we can, because we got that little group chat set up now.
We do.
Yep.
We got to make that happen. Maybe we could do like a rotating thing between me, you, and Brandon, like a rotating thing.
Yeah,
I think that'd be great. Oh,
this guy too.
Oh, it's gonna be huge. Trust me. Me, you, and Brandon, the anime guy, talking One Piece. It's gonna be huge. I think that would be the best way to make this work. A rotating thing. Okay, we just once again another seed's been planted. Fantastic Four, One Piece there.
I was gonna say if you
you're right. That now I'm motivated. Yeah, right.
I was
Now
gonna say real quick.
You gave me that extra, like, I have to get this done. So I'm gonna be like before I go to bed, I'm gonna be looking at myself and I'm like, you better fucking get this done. You better get the next One Piece. You son of a bitch. Don't be stupid.
Oh yeah, we gonna get it.
I was gonna say, if you guys wanted to get another Tiny but Fierce is like the biggest One Piece fan that I know. She is fantastic.
Tiny but Fierce? I've heard of her. I don't know her, but
she hangs out on my streams a lot.
Yes,
She's a
she
real
and
good
I.
friend, and she's a freaking One Piece absolute encyclopedia, man.
Yeah, she
Absolute
is.
encyclopedia.
She
That's
is
what we
just
need.
absolutely just lives, breathes, and sleeps it. She's fantastic.
Okay, guys. I'm gonna acknowledge a quick comment here, then we're gonna transition to our final topic for the night. And we still have almost 30 people here in the chat. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your super chats, Osmar, for becoming a member and giving out memberships like a crazy son of a bitch. And for all of you for sticking around, just put in the comments saying what you're enjoying, your opinions, your thoughts. We're not in an echo chamber here. We're here to we want to talk about the good things. But we also want to have engagement and discussion on these things as well. And with that all said, I'm going to remember that, Neil. One last comment, and then we're going to transition to the final talk for that. This is a big one because, especially for these two guys here. Neil say, enjoying lately Ultimate Spider-Man. New issue is good. As for back issues, I've been rereading JMS Store Run. Very solid. Yeah, you get some weird things, but it was well written. Hey, if you enjoy it, that's great. I haven't read it myself, but we're going to come. I'm just saying.
No, I don't hate Balboa, but I pity the fool, and I will destroy any man who tries to take what I got.
That time, I heard you coming.
All right.
We've
been waiting a while now. Let's get to it. Energon Universe. Okay, we'll start off with Transformers because that's what came out last week with Transformers #4 DWJ Daniel Warren Johnson. Which, by the way, before you guys get into it, he will be doing an additional 6 or 7 issues because the rumor was, or either rumor that was wrong. I don't know what it was, but regardless, it was that he was going to do the first arc and then just leave. He's going to do a second arc. He's not going to draw, but he's going to write it. I'm good with that. Now we'll see if he gets to do more. We'll see. Well, maybe time will tell. But from what my comic guy has been saying, Transformers is a hotly talked about book. He didn't expect it to be this hotly talked about. And it seems like Transformers has a lot of people engaged. And for people who are especially really disenfranchised with what Marvel or DC are doing, they're looking elsewhere. And the Energon universe is right now, and I give Robert Kirkman credit for that, they're really fulfilling a gap there for readers, right? As of now, once again, it's still a little fresh. We're going to be fair here. Could they ruin it? Could they mess up? Could everything still go off the rails? Of course. But as of now, 4 issues into Transformers, and with DWJ's proven record, and I'll back him on that, his proven record, it has been good. It has been a good record, and obviously he's a Chicago guy. I've talked to him in the area at metal shows. He really, really loves the medium of comics. He respects the medium. He's on a metal book, Murder Falcon. He's on a wrestling book, do a power bomb. He's done cool epic stories like Extremity. And of course, he's done some of his big 2 work, like he wrote and drew with the Beta Ray Bill from Marvel. And then what he strictly wrote with Juan Gideon on pencils, the Jurassic League. And now here he is on Transformers. And I feel like this maybe the only thing I'm probably trailing behind here is probably Murder Falcon. But other than that, Transformers is up there for DWJ's best of his best stuff here. And now we got the comments going off. That's what I like to see. So, okay. I want to hear it from the Transformers veterans. We're going to Diesel because Diesel's been very patient. It's almost 2 hours. And here he is still here. Dude, tell us about your thoughts on Transformers #4. You're a Transformers guy.
Well, I tell you what I did, and I love Daniel Warren Johnson's art. I'm not going to lie to you. I absolutely loved it. But for this issue, when I saw that they had this as the wraparound cover.
Ooh, we're gonna zoom in on you, brother.
That right there. I couldn't pass that one up, man. I had to get that one because that's like that pretty much right there. That Optimus Prime like that is strictly pulled. That's straight out of like the Transformers, the '86 movie. In the iconic scene, and I had to pick this art. That one up just for that art. I might wind up getting the other one just because I like Daniel Johnson's artwork is fantastic. But this guy absolutely nails Optimus Prime. And this is coming from somebody that grew up. Man, I'm older than dirt, man. I grew up with the Transformers. This is my jam. Like, I watched the cartoon. Like, I've got the Marvel comics. I actually was able to repurchase a whole lot of my, like, I got about 1 through 24 of the original Marvel comic because I was just like, I rebought them. But he absolutely gets Optimus Prime. Just like when Peter Cullen, the voice actor who's done Optimus Prime, he talks about his inspiration for that, and his inspiration for the voice was his brother Larry. And he told him, he said, because he was going to this audition and they were sharing a vehicle. It was like, it was like 1983. I want to say probably early 84. I believe it was probably 83. And he's going to this audition and they're like low on cash. And he's telling him, I'm going to this audition. I'm going for a truck. And he's like, you're going to play a truck? And he's like, Larry, this guy is a hero. And he goes, and he got real serious. And he goes, Peter, if you're going to do a hero, be a real hero. Be strong enough to be gentle. And that is Optimus Prime. And that is this. He has nailed this character from the beginning. And this book is just like at the end of book 3, which you kind of like, you just get that when he sees that Spike is shot, he walked into that gunfire and gets shot, and it shows him thinking, and he thinks about that deer that he stepped on. Oh man, that gets me right in the feels when Optimus Prime like.
And it's so well set up too, because it's a good reminder to Optimus to point out like how frail humanity is, how frail life on Earth is. That if he's not careful, he just so easily crush it in his hands.
Yeah. That's when he was just, this place is beautiful, and then he accidentally steps on that deer, and you could just see. It's kind of, sometimes it's hard to, I guess, to show emotion with a robot that's got a faceplate, but he does it just in the size of his eyes. He just conveys exactly what he's feeling. His eyes go wide, and he's like, oh my God.
It's all the body language too. It's like, it's silent too.
He absolutely nails this character. And it's like they go in here and like when they get to the hospital after they get there and the Decepticons start to attack, right? And this Starscream is just a ruthless scumbag. He is just from the start, he is just squishing humans just for the hell of it, just to do it, man. He is an evil son of a bitch. Which is one great way that they segued into the Duke comic, was when they showed Duke pulled out all the stops to avoid getting squished when he ejected from that jet. That was very well done. But such a man. They took the character, that backstabbing, just treacherous swine from the '80s cartoon, and just kind of ratcheted it up and dialed it up to where it was like, really, they kind of imply a lot of this stuff in the cartoon and the comics of how he is, but they actually show it here. They show that he has absolutely, they're ants.
No remorse.
They're nothing. They're just, humans are nothing. And he laughs at torturing them. Even though they're sentient beings, he's just such a, ugh.
But then also issue 4 is us sort of dealing with the ramifications of it to kind of explain this for anyone who's unaware, who hasn't read this yet. Spike has been shot, and so Optimus, who's had to rip his own arm off to beat Skywarp to near death, has rushed Spike to the hospital. Well, just by the mere act of basically being there, Optimus and what Autobots they have now have to defend this hospital against the Decepticon attacks. So they're getting it from all these different angles, while you have all these sick people inside, and Spike is in intensive care. Well, when the Decepticons attack, and at this point, like I gotta say, just for anyone who just to do this for the audience, like I will say, stop listening now because this book is so good. Go out and buy it. Go read this. Yes. I highly recommend this.
All right, before we continue on, we're gonna Klobby plug his channel. He's been here for 2 hours, and he's got a life, and we thank him for that. But no, you're not the don't you fucking dare with the disrupting the flow, dude. You are a friend of the channel. You're a friend of me as an individual, and we love your time. We value your time.
Thank you, boy. No, that's all right.
And I just want to be appreciative and acknowledging of that. And also, thank you, Common Gamer, for plugging in his channel.
Thank you.
Go sub to Clobbering Time today, 5 years ago. Yeah, thank you, Volk. We do.
Thank you, Vulcan. Why, you're all too kind.
Close.
You guys like Star Trek? Check out his Saturday Night Star Trek.
What's coming out next on your channel?
Thanks, dude. Well, thank you all so much. Like now, I was gonna cut, man. And by the way, I have a life since when. Anyway, appreciate you, buddy. Though, yeah, I just gotta get up really early tomorrow. I guess it's been a long, bad day here. Just Saturday Night Star Trek tomorrow night when I finally get back. 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Mikel and I with 4 more episodes of Voyager. And Sunday Night Geekery with our great buddy Mark D with a C's channel on Sunday night, oddly enough, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. 9 Central. What has been that kind of a night? And then the usual stuff all next week. Just usual shows. Just they know where to find me. Thank you all so much. Hey, what a great crowd we got there. It's a good night chat. Have a wonderful one. My buddies on the panel. I'm sorry to cut on you so early, but I really appreciate being here. Thanks, Nick.
Man, thank you for being here. Have a great night and weekend,
all
sir.
Right, buddies.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Take care, my friends.
All right.
I'll see you soon.
And what's up, Emperor's NM? And also, zoom down me. You don't need to see that. Oh shit. I gotta get out of here. Osmora 199 gifted
what?
5.
Another 5, dude.
Huge. Huge.
Osmora 199. Thank you, sir. Mohammed, let me get in touch with you on that. I don't have a good answer to that, unfortunately. And Klobby just back up. I'm sorry, I just saw your comment now. We will be in touch. I will message him directly, unless you follow him on Twitter. He'll answer that for you. And Student God, I need to finish Void Rivals. I'm not caught up, but I'll get there. I'll message you too because I follow you now too. And for our gentlemen, Caster and Diesel, Neil asked, would it be accurate to say it's a very Superman moment and Optimus being heroic? Man, I miss when established heroes were genuinely heroic and not snarky claw chasers. Looking at you, Marvel. So what do you guys got to say to that?
So I think before we go further, I'm gonna again state that, like, by the way, at this point we're gonna get into it. The book's been out a couple weeks, and so you've been warned. That said, Optimus having to open his chest and pull out the Matrix to basically sacrifice the last of the energy within it, just to keep alive Spike and these.
Yeah, the generators, the Decepticons blew the generators at the hospital, and everyone, including Spike, who's in intensive care, and he's in surgery, and they're trying to save his life because he's like he was shot getting in between the humans who thought all the Transformers were bad and Optimus. They're all unloading on him from like the last issue, and he catches a bullet. And the Decepticons show up, and Starscream has this. This is where they fix the squishy ones. Is that right? So he just like unloads on it just to like blow. He wants to kill as many of them as he can. He's such a villainous. It's like,
so real quick. I want to ask Nick, since you're not as familiar with it, what's your take on all this? Like, because I
My
think
take on this?
I think that's as important.
It's made me a believer in the Transformers, not just someone who's invested, not just someone who is now like someone who wants to know more about the Lord, but it's made me a believer in the great character of Optimus Prime. I connect with this guy, and that's figurative, even though he's a robot, I connect with him. No pun intended. I love these moments that Dan does with his character because it makes me realize, okay, I can now see why this character has so much emotional resonance with fans. I get it now. I can see why people are really latching on to this Aaron John universe. You know, we were talking about Aaron Sparrow, Western Thinking Critical, obviously a few of the guys on the panel, and of course, you know, some of the guys in my comic shop in the world. It's so cool to have people getting excited about something like this coming out monthly because and not only that, it's not like it's just good because everything else is not good. It's just like this is damn good. And Transformers seems to really be hitting that stride for a lot of people. And I'm still going to call myself a Transformers normie. I love where this is going. I love the action. I love the heart that this book has. It really feels like it has soul to it. And Dan really believes in character work. That's saying a lot because this guy really loves his action. Like he almost borderline fetishizes on it, but his heart in the book resonates so much more. And I dare I say, for lack of a better term, it probably has equally as much punch as all the actual action itself.
You could say this book has the touch.
There's more to it than meets the eye.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. No, but that's exactly it. If you think about what's going on, they are showing you the levels of good and of evil that you have. Optimus
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. We know clear cut who the heroes and villains are, and man, Optimus.
But also the level, because we knew that the Decepticons are bad. We always have knew that the Decepticons are bad and the Autobots are good. The thing is that these Decepticons are literally cannibalizing each other to stay alive, right? So that shows you the desperation, but also shows you the limits that they are willing to go because they are not regretting what they are doing. They are doing it with a smile on their face. They are doing it really grotesque. And in the other side, you have Optimus sacrificing any possibility of trying to stabilize the situation of even repairing himself or repairing one of his brothers. He's choosing to use that bit of energy to save a human, while the Decepticons are cannibalizing each other to kill humans. So that shows you the dimensions of how good the Autobots are and how goddamn evil are the Decepticons. And at the end, you have Starscream boasting how he will always be the leader of the Decepticons. And you just see Megatron on the ice, and you are like, we haven't seen how evil they are. We are about to do.
When you said just now where Optimus sacrificing the last bit of energy that is in the Matrix, which is to save the humans, that is Optimus Prime. And thank you, Iron, for asking Nick his opinion, because hearing that is so cool to me, man. Dude, this is like, I'm like, dude, I'm giddy. I've got this shit-eating grin on my face because this is just so cool, man. For me, who's been like just this veteran Transformers guy, and I'm just like, this gets it right. All these movies, nah. Even the IDW stuff, I didn't like a lot of their characterization of Optimus Prime. This right here gets it. This is just right from the first time you see him. He looks down, he sees humans. He doesn't know what they are, but he immediately throws himself between them and laser fire because that's Optimus Prime. And that's, Nick, to hear you say that's about Optimus. That's so cool. He's my favorite character without a doubt, man.
I can see why. And I want to testify on this comment with Neil because obviously, if you read the first issue and you saw the back page where Dan wrote his really thought out
Yes.
essay about his love for the
Mhm.
franchise,
Lost the
I have
hands.
talked with Dan in person, not once, not twice, but several times in person. I've talked to him at C2E2 many times. He goes to a lot of the same metal shows I go to as well. Since I first ran into him in 2017, years before he hopped on this book. The guy really loves the comics medium. I remember when he told me about his Wonder Woman story half a year before it came out. I remember when he told me about his wrestling book before. I remember when he told me about Murder Falcon, his heavy metal book. I remember he was showing me pages and tiers of what he did before months before. I remember he showed me the first cover. When he's into something like metal, when he's into something like wrestling, when he's into something like the Transformers, he he writes what he knows. He writes what he knows. He's one of those guys. He doesn't just write anything just to be on something. He's got to have an emotional attachment, and it shows. And I think that's why his books all have a lot of emotion to them. There's always a lot of depth to these stories. There's a lot of meat to the bone because he's attached to these characters. There's a reason why Beta Ray Bill had a lot of personality, even for a guy with a horse face, because he resonated with him more than he did Thor Odin's son. Because Daniel Warren Johnson grew up a Beta Ray Bill fan. There's a reason why he took that book instead. And he's had some pretty big name books from the big two he's been asked. And he told me them. I'm not going to say them, but he's not done them because he has his stuff that he's attached to. It takes a unique discipline to do that. He is the absolute reverse of a cloud chaser. Reverse. Just saying. His actions speak for himself. And that's saying a lot considering this guy draws a lot of action. Just saying. Just saying. Guys, go read Transformers.
Yes,
the
at
Universe.
It's at the back of that first issue, dude. When he tells the story about his Optimus Prime toy and he draws a picture of it and how he lost the fist on the school bus, I was like, dude, because I mean that would have been like that's heartbreaking, man. Because like the fists were like that's how he holds his gun. I was just like, oh, dude. He brought it for show and tell and lost the fist. And then he drew the picture of the toy. I was like, this guy is, I just knew it when I saw that story. I was like, this dude's a fan. That was so cool. And he drew the picture of the toy without the fist. I was like, yeah, that is, yeah.
It feels good to have something to be excited about. And whoever has to take place of Daniel Warren Johnson after, if he does just the 12 issues and then he calls the day after, they got a tall order. They're going to need someone really good. Straight up at this, because this is a huge deal. It's a huge deal, and you're giving other people some serious tall orders to follow. You know what? That's good. Hopefully, it'll keep people motivated. And I know Ryan Otley, who is the infamous penciler of Invincible. Apparently, he's attached himself to an Energon Universe free comic book day special. Is he going to be the guy who's going to get involved with third arc? Is he doing another book totally separate from it? I don't know, but I love the stuff he did on Invincible. So I am very curious to see where Otley goes with the Energon Universe. And anyone who's read Invincible knows that man can do action. And not only can he do action, he can do brutal action. And all the characters he's drawing within this universe are all brutal. It's a hand and glove. Yeah, thank you, Nick. Ryan Otley at anything is like, and I'm down. I already am. I haven't even read it yet, and I'm already welcome it. And welcome to the show, Sevi. Cheers to you,
Sevi. What's going on, Sev?
Seriously though, I'm so ready for So mark your calendars for May 2024. Free Comic Book Day, Energon Universe special, drawn by Ryan Otley. I don't know who the writers yet, but Ryan Otley's involved, so say no more.
And so he did a really bang up job on Invincible now.
Oh, dude.
Oh, cool.
I remember I love his style because it looks so colorful and bright, vibrant, and it reminds you of like really early comics, but with his touch on old comics. It's one of those things where I was just like, wow, okay.
I was
actually resonate with
remembering the other day the show where we were talking about Invincible and how the second season is going,
It's
and
great.
I was asking, are they doing the Omni-Man redemption arc? Yes, they are. There's a bit of tone down. I'll be honest. From the comics to what you are seeing on screen, is a bit of a tone down. Some characters were changed into a woman. The woman dies beheaded. Not even beheaded. It's only her jaw that is removed in the most horrible way possible.
Ooh.
So, yeah, they change it a man to a woman. She dies anyway. Okay.
All the multiversal stuff.
No. When you
That
get
was.
the Viltrumites,
There was that one because they were showing out the universe, and one of the characters there was a swap.
oh yeah. No, I mean from the comics to the screen when they have the Viltrumites fighting.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the Viltrumites in the comics is a man, but yeah, the
You're
lady
right.
that
I
uses
know
the
what you're
knife on the
talking about.
hair.
I remember now. You're right.
Yeah. The thing is that the way she dies and the fight in general is good, so I have no complaints about that. Uh, Her death is even worse than the Viltrumite man, so I didn't even care about that change. Uh, the tone down on the sexuality is a bit of a letdown because it was grotesque. It's bugs that go around with titties in the comics that is really graphic. And yes, this
Bugs?
hell, yeah, exactly the point. It's supposed to be disturbing. It's not supposed to be sexual. The fact that they thought, oh, this will be too sexual for screen on an R-rated series, I am kind of thinking that they are not getting the real message of that scene or the context of what's happening. I don't care. It was still really good, but they committed a really terrible scene. They cut the series at the halfway point, and I think it's still a couple of weeks before the next episode goes live. So blue balls is a thing that you should never do to your fans. Really, never go full blue balls. That's terrible, and they did.
Never go full blue balls. Hey,
Okay. Welcome
Nick,
to the show, Brendan Newcomb. I've not seen you here before, but welcome to the show. So the episode with the one-eyed superhero that gets smashed up by Viltrumites was fun. Yes, it was.
Yes.
Oh, dude, I had a blast. And yes, Pablo is right. Overall, though, the show is great. And even what's really crazy is though the show has a lot more going on, it's a lot busier than season one. It's somehow, granted, anything could change. Halfway at this point, season two has straight up eclipsed season one. So unless something horrific happens, this season two has already eclipsed season one. At least that's how I feel, Paul. I don't know where you're at, but that's where I'm at.
No, yeah. I have a couple of issues with how they are adapting some things, but in general, the series is absolutely great. And the second season is because they have some fixes on some of the characters, it's actually getting better. The first season was too heavy into the feminism. It was too heavy into blaming Mark of everything, and yeah, there's a character that I absolutely hated.
All right.
This season, I actually thought she was hot during that scene.
Amber?
Yep.
Biggest
Amber.
improvement to the show by a lot. I was shocked. Trust me. I remember thinking to myself, oh, it's just the first episode. She'll be back to her insufferableness. And then the other three episodes happen. And I'm like, she's acting a lot more like Amber from the comics.
Yeah.
What?
She's
Like-
actually being a woman.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely enjoyable. So the bits that were
No, she's
missing
great
was
in
that
this. She was
there's still a
awesome.
bit that sexuality part of the book that they were actually really frontal about is missing on the series. That's the only thing that is missing. They are too quote unquote tasteful. They are trying to tone down the erotism, and it's supposed to go by mixed with the grotesque, so you feel that uneasiness about it that they are missing. That's the only part that I feel that they are not fulfilling on the adaptation. But the deaths and everything, they are doing it really well. The music is excellent for the scenes. The animation, simplistic but still really good. So in general, the series is a banger, man. It's a
Yeah, it's damn good. I strongly agree. I like what it's going with Amber. I like where it's going for Mr. Grayson as well. The redemption arc with Omni Man. Once again, and of course the Maulers, what's going on with the Maulers. Once again, more going on, but yet somehow it's better. It was just saying, like, even though there's some minor liberties taken, nothing where it ruins it for me. And I'm not gonna still give him a pass with the unnecessary race swap. I will say at the end of the day, I will not say forgive it, but let it slide more when the characterization is good. And Amber has
Yeah.
been good in the show. She really genuinely has been. This is where it's ironic now. I would like to see more of Adam Eve because Neil has a great comment here saying, waiting for a second season to be finished to binge it. I love the Adam Eve special.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love that from the comics. That one episode, that one-off episode, was lifted from that 2-issue miniseries, the Adam Eve miniseries. And not only did they take scenes from that miniseries, but they took actual dialogue.
They improve it on it. They improve it on a few
I
things.
recommend everyone in the chat reads that miniseries. It's 2 issues. You're in, you're out. Invincible presents Adam Eve. It's amazing. Straight
With-
up. It's such a wonderful story. It
with
really
regards,
is. I
in
want more
regards
of
of
her.
in regards of Amber on the race swap, if they had the characters acting, at least Amber acting as she is acting right now, I have no issue with the race swap.
Yeah.
Because it's just a color palette. The character is still the character that should be. The actions are the actions of the character, so you feel the same things that you are supposed to feel. If you hate Amber, when she's in danger, you won't care. Or when she is in a position where Mark will actually get the bad ending, you actually care about it. But if you hate her, you just don't give a damn. And in the first season, I didn't give a damn about her. No, I do. And that is exactly why she is there. As Lois Lane, as any other love interest for a superhero, she's there to be preoccupied about the hero dying and also to be in danger in a situation where the hero has to take a choice that is absolutely impossible. But he has to because a loved one is in danger. Is a good conduit to a good story. But if you change that and you don't care about the love interest, well, the love interest can die. Some people felt that about when Stacy, believe it or not. They were like, who cares? I didn't like her anyway. Well, that's a shame because the death of Gwen Stacy should rip you apart, as if anything happens to Amber. That it may. If you have read the comics, you know that it may. So you need to have that investment. They were taking that away, they give it back, the character is fixed. Is that what they needed? And it's done. So, yay for them.
All right. So we're going to acknowledge this direct donation from Vulcan Lives. And then we're going to talk Cobra Commander. And then we're going to pull out.
No.
Yeah.
No, that never happens around here.
Jesse says that never happens around here.
Vulcan Lives for 10 direct donation dollars says Diesel should be a mandatory guest when we talk Transformers. Just saying. You know what? Yeah, if he wants to come on here for these issues, sure.
I would absolutely. It is my honor.
If
Thank you.
FNT can have Disparu for when they did the Rings of Power, we will have Diesel for when we talk Transformers. Simple as that.
Nice.
Thank you. I'm
Mandatory. Consider it done,
I'm
Vulcan.
honored.
Your voice has been heard, sir. Thank you for the 10 direct donation dollars. Guys, we're gonna put in our final thoughts on Transformers number 4, and then we are going to talk Cobra Commander number 1. So, and what's up, Professor Savage Dad? How you doing, bud? Welcome to the
Hey,
channel.
dude.
I've seen you around here before.
Yeah.
Welcome. Or not here literally, but around channels. How you doing, man? All right, guys. I'll let you two dudes have it. Final thoughts on Transformers number 4 and where this is going towards the future. Diesel, you're the guest.
Every one of these books is a banger, and as far as I'm concerned, when you got Optimus Prime right, he's the heart of Transformers. He's the heart of the book, and I feel like if they can keep this going, then it'll be okay. If someone else comes in to write after Daniel Warren Johnson, if they can continue on and keep the heart of the book, which in my opinion, is Optimus Prime, or they can keep the matrix of the book, like the heart of it, I think it will be okay. There's so many little things in this book that are good. Like there's another characterization after they've gotten Starscream, they fly back after they've been in this fight. Everybody, Skywarp got wrecked. Starscream is pointing at a little scratch on his face, like, look what they did to my face.
Yes.
Just screaming about that, like not worried about any of that kind of stuff. And the wrestling moves, I know, Nick, you probably enjoy. And since you pointed it out, I notice it all the time when they fight. DWJ is throwing in some wrestling when they're fighting, when the bots fight, which is really cool. It's just overall, it's a great issue. Optimus Prime, just without a second, it looks like when it's like it won't just be your son needs a machine to keep him breathing, but one of those bastards hit the generator, and with that gone, it won't just be your son that dies tonight. And without a moment's hesitation, he opens up the matrix, brings it out to power the hospital to keep everyone else alive, because that's what Optimus Prime would do. Sacrifice himself, give the last bit of energy he had to protect humans. And
no more death, Ratchet.
No
even
more.
If it comes at
Yes.
a price.
That's
more death.
No more.
That actually felt like a Doctor Who line. Everybody lives. Yeah, it was.
Everybody lives. Just this once. Everybody lives.
But I think so. I'm sorry if I didn't get a chance to if I missed this part. But
No,
did you guys get to the big reveal at the end?
I don't think. Wait. Oh, I think Pablo mentioned it. Where Starscream is sitting there. I'm the Decepticon leader now and forever. And from the beginning, since issue 1, we've had a notable big bad missing, and we happen to show that it's Megatron. Also, that somehow Ratchet was able, in Prime's trailer, which he pulled there, was able to somehow salvage Megatron's fusion cannon arm to transplant on Optimus Prime.
So in issue 1, they had gone and loaded up in the trailer like all these other Autobots. It's like, who knows? We at this point, like, Optimus's trailer is sort of this MacGuffin we can use to pull out just about any Autobot right now, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that image of just Optimus with Megatron's arm, the fusion cannon there, he's looking down at it. And it's like,
how do you feel about going on the offensive? But he hesitates when he sees it. He's just like,
the amount
Ratchet,
of
no,
death
I
and
can't
mayhem.
use that. That's Megatron's arm.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like the amount of death and mayhem this one hand, this arm, this cannon has caused.
Has
how
wreaked
many
on
people?
the
How many
universe.
lives has this taken? And this is now a part of me. on top of his own uh, stuff he's had to do.
Exactly. Like how much death has this one arm just like unleashed and just on the universe.
Especially considering like he's probably Optimus is someone who's going to look at all that as this was all my fault. If I had fought harder, I could have stopped all this. All the blood, all this suffering is on my hands, and he literally has Megatron's hand.
Right.
Yes.
That's you're exactly right about that, because that's something he's always, the weight of every life lost, every person that's ever been hurt by Megatron and the Decepticons, that's on his shoulders, man, because that's just who he is. He carries that all the time, and that's something that he's constantly. That's why they're fighting to end this, because he feels responsible for everything. That's exactly why when they come to Earth, that's why he threw himself immediately between laser fire, and he doesn't even know what a human is. He just sees that strange creature, but he's like, we brought this here. This is our fault. I can't imagine what he's like. Like he's constantly wrestling with all of these thoughts in his head about the stuff that he could have done.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. So I'm looking forward to seeing when he transforms, how is he going to incorporate that into him? Is it just gonna be this little slab of silver that's like gonna be right there? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, maybe in that, you know how it was kind of like in the spot on the truck, how it just showed, and I got it right here, where his like right arm would be, and they show him like right there. You see, like it's missing. That's that section right there. Maybe something silver or something like that, if it shows that, because he'll probably, that's a good thinking. I wasn't even thinking about that.
I want to see what it looks like. But also, the other thing I loved out of this was getting Jazz.
Yes,
Jazz is a great Autobot.
I love Jazz, dude. Man, you know I got him sitting right here. I love freaking Jazz, dude.
So for a little context for you, Nick, the character of Jazz was an Autobot who like took strongly to Earth culture.
Yes.
So he's always coming out with like the character's literally voiced by like Scatman Crothers.
Yeah.
We got a great
baby.
We got a great question here. I feel like it should be acknowledged. I know I am late. Where did they pick up the series story at? I feel like this starts in its own setting. And I think Castor and Diesel, even though I'm a normie, I feel like they can back that thought up.
And yeah, this is effectively the start of this, because like issue 1 basically starts with the Autobots and Decepticons that were basically on this crash ship waking up. So this is the start of the conflict being brought to Earth.
Exactly.
And the thing is, like, just the amount of stuff that we have, the amount of potential stuff we have to come is going to be amazing. We haven't even gotten into like we haven't even gotten Megatron yet.
No,
any of the other stuff. Like we still haven't gotten to like combiners yet. Like wait until like we figure out how we're bringing in Devastator.
Right, and it's kind of like redoing G1, kind of like at the beginning. It's like it starts at G1. Basically, it starts out in issue 1. The Ark is crashed. The Autobots and Decepticons are all like in stasis or in pieces. So it kind of starts out right there, man. It's almost like starting the whole.
Also, I think to give us a small segue here, this is also a good way to work in the introduction of the G.I. Joe stuff.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And before we transition over, we got a few things to acknowledge. Neil, thanks for hanging out, sir. Have a great night. Thank you for being here, dude. You were here almost the entire show. Like, go get some rest, dude. You've done your time, man. Thank you for being here. Student guy, this before we transition, said, "Oh shit, I might get this go comment." It ties to transfer. That dude, you're hearing correctly. We'll just say that, and we'll be talking about short. And then Emperor's End, he sent a direct donation of $13, and he says nothing. He says nothing. He just drops $50 son of a bitch is an atom bomb.
No,
He's
I
a
just came in and
Brandon
mic dropped
Lee.
on that, man.
He's a Brandon Lee atom bomb.
You have the right to be dead.
Thank you, Emperor's NM. You deserved a deep cut clip from Showdown in Little Tokyo, one of the greatest action movies of all time. But all right, guys. This all right. Yeah, right. It's the best line. You have the right to be dead, right? Yeah, that's a good way of screwing up the Joker's origin. If Brandon Lee was there with the Joker boy, he's like, yeah, you're not gonna happen. Boom.
Right to be dead.
It's perfect.
That's
So
that's like, dude, I haven't seen that's just a boss one-liner right there, man.
all right, so we're gonna talk this one last issue, and then we're gonna call it a night because, well, real life. We'll just say that real life.
Yeah.
Cobra Commander came out this week. This is a cover from, I think this is from David Aja. Yeah, David Aja. David Aja. I was right. And obviously, this issue seems to be the most unique one of the bunch that has come out so far, because you had Void Rivals from Robert Kirkman, Daniel Warren Johnson, Transformers, Duke, which I loved as well, Joshua Williamson, and now Cobra Commander, also from Josh Williamson, and also a miniseries much like Duke, except for me, going into this as a normie, what I really enjoyed was that this was like the contrast book to Duke, because Duke was this pedal to the metal, action-packed story. It feels like G.I. Joe. It's not fully a union yet. It's on the verge of becoming that. It was just a roller coaster. Whereas Cobra Commander felt like this bone chilling, at times borderline unsettling horror movie. Not like a slasher, but more of like The Shining, where it's a slow build. It builds up to these big moments. And I love that Cobra Commander is a full-on villain in this. It definitely moves slower, but the chill is there. It's that as I mentioned in my review video with Catherine Aaron Sorrell, it's got that spine tingling sensation. And I love that it lines up continuity wise very well with what's going on in this book. So
It's got that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
It's got that feel of. Oh, sorry.
I'm liking where this is going. I'm going to be on board for Cobra Commander, like the other Energon Universe books. And I really had fun despite all the darkness set aside. Today's another day of fight. No, you don't sympathize with this guy. This guy is evil to the bone. He makes it known. He makes it known.
It's got that, like, that the preview pages had like this real like horror kind of vibe to it, man. Those that they had in the back, so it's got that kind of feel to it, you know, where you just come out there and you just see, like, he walks out there in the back of that truck stop, and it's just blood. They see that whatever happened to that dude, and they're just like, oh, what the what?
Dearest, I see your comment here. Duke does not line up with the Transformers kind of Transformers takes place over. It does not take place over a few days. Now I'm not trying to say that to antagonize. You're a great guy. Love you. Love your honesty and transparency. It takes place over a few months. There is a panel where they mention a few months later. There is one of the panel. It's like 5 or 6 months later. They do acknowledge that directly, right there. So, good. That's what I like to hear, Muhammad. No, but it is acknowledged there, because that's why, if you notice within that panel, you start to see he's got some facial hair coming in. His hair is a lot longer. That is all done. That is all there in the Duke book. And it's not in the Transformers guy. It's in the Duke book. They acknowledge the transition in the Duke book. So no sweat, brother. Happens, man.
Yeah,
it's fine. I make mistakes every bloody damn day I exist. And that's including today, even. So I enjoyed it, but I'm gonna let the gentleman here take it away, like I said, before we get on out. So All right. Well, one second, we'll let the guests hit it off. Talk about your thoughts on Cobra Commander, because I don't know if you're a GI Joe guy as well, or if you're just like, I'm gonna read this because I'm already invested in the universe. Diesel.
I haven't picked up. I haven't read the Cobra Commander book yet, but I am, dude. I have read. I was telling Ironcast in the private chat. That original Marvel GI Joe book is freaking. To me, it's been about 15 to 16 years since I read it. It's a masterpiece, though, dude. And the thing, and so I'm kind of Transformers and GI Joe were always. I kind of saw them as like they're almost like a brother and sister cartoon because they're both done by Sunbow. They had a whole lot of the same voice actors that carried over. The guy Chris Latta or Christopher Collins who did Starscream also did Cobra Commander, and I feel like it's gonna. I'm itching to check out Cobra Commander, but I think it's gonna be this whole thing is gonna be it's gonna be good. I love the Duke book, and the whole having those two in the same universe, it just feels natural to me. It's like back in the day, that's what all the kids were just like, oh, Transformers G.I. Joe, and they had a Marvel Transformers G.I. Joe like crossover, like 4-issue book.
It makes sense.
In the day. Yeah, and I'm cool with it. The whole Void Rivals and everything. I think the whole thing, Void Rivals is just chock full of Easter eggs, and it just
So the other thing with Cobra Commander, and I don't want to go spoiling it too much because it just came out this week, and I want to I want to be able to let Diesel go read it and enjoy it for himself. This clearly also takes place sometime after like the issue number 4. Just because of a character, we'll say. So I was like, I'm just going to give you that much. Like, this is also taking place sometime after the events of the issue 4. So effectively, our timeline at this point is like Transformers 1 through 4, then Duke and Cobra Commander at some point thereafter.
It's kind of how I got the feel from Duke that I wasn't sure exactly when it took place as far as like in the Transformers timeline, but it felt like it was a ways in the future because like Nick was saying, he gets a beard and everything like that. I feel like that's going to be a little ways down line, in the future. Not quite sure where it is right now. I feel like the stuff, like you were saying, like what goes on in like Transformers issue 4, that's prior to the later events of what happened with Duke when they sent all the people after to take him out.
One other little small anecdote is that all right, so not that it really spoils anything for the book, but issue 1 of Cobra Commander ends with like him going to like Florida to like go to the Dreadnoughts. And the reason I mention this is because I'm also at the same time reading through the original Marvel run, and I got like just before I pulled that issue up, I had finished reading the issue where Cobra and them are going to Florida to go to the Dreadnought. So I'm like, what is the odds?
That's awesome. Because I'm pretty sure I'd be able to like just reading it. They put little hints and stuff and little callbacks to things because the Dreadnoughts in Florida and whatnot. That's pretty cool. This is going to be interesting and to see how they pull in. I want to see how they do with this. How they'll pull in Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes and see how they kind of go around. Yeah, because that's something you can look forward to coming down the line because you can't have Cobra and G.I. Joe without those two mirror images.
And I think with these books, I think that is something important to kind of bring up is that they have a chance to take all of these iconic characters from these franchises and really build them up to introduce them. The fact that we've basically waited so long before we even got to introduce Megatron.
Exactly, right.
Tells me like, okay, they're thinking about these things. They realize that just the mere presence of certain characters within these books is going to be the cliffhanger that's going to get people to back. Like the minute they wind up bringing in Baroness, Dr. Mindbender, Zartan, Tomac, Zamat,
Major Blood,
Snake Eye, Storm Shadow, like hell, my boy Shipwreck. Like
Shipwreck, dude.
Shipwreck.
I love Shipwreck. Yeah, that's good. That's taking your time, character building. Now it's not like I think I had read the guy who was writing, the guy who wrote Duke. Maybe that was him. I'm not exactly sure. How they were talking about how these are going to be. See, he's able to. Larry Hama has his own still continuing on Real American Hero that's continuing on since the first issue, but of the Marvel comics that you're reading now. But the guy who was talking about now, like we know these characters and kind of how they're act, but we're gonna have it's not they're gonna have different settings, different things take place, but they're gonna be recognizable as those characters. But it's gonna be kind of a new story because we're mixing in Transformers in there too, which is really cool because I feel like that's gonna be you're gonna have the same. You'll get a feel for these characters, and you kind of already know how they are, so the guy's not gonna change it up so much. But they're gonna put them in this whole Energon universe that's got Transformers along with it, and see how those characters would react in that situation, and how you are introduced to them in that.
Real quick, Muhammad Said, if you're going to go check out some of the early G1 Transformer stuff, which I recommend, it's good, go for the Marvel UK.
Yes. That the Marvel UK is fantastic.
Because that's where we get Simon, the writer Simon Furman, who is sort of the Larry Hama of Transformers. That is the guy.
And a lot of those what was really cool about the Transformers UK, the Marvel UK stuff was they put stuff in between the ongoing Marvel, the original Marvel series. They had all this stuff that would go in between it because the Marvel UK book came out, I think, every 2 weeks. So they were able to insert like a story in between those, and some of those early ones, they're fantastic.
And when he brought in what was it? The Wrecking Crew. No, it was the Wreckers.
The Wreckers, yeah. When he brought in the Wreckers, those were never even in the original Marvel run, man.
Which, for context, for anyone who's unaware, the Wreckers is like the SEAL Team 6 of the Autobots.
Yep.
They are the crew you send in for the missions that are just too dangerous, that are insane for anyone to even consider taking.
They take on this suicide missions. They're just like, you go in here against all odds, we're gonna send these crazy dudes in there. Man.
If SEAL Team 6 were the Suicide Squad, because not everyone always makes it back.
Right. Yeah. That is the origin of the Wreckers too in the original Marvel UK. That's
so. Long story short, for everyone, we kind of like Cobra Commander. Should we recommend it? Because I guess we probably should.
Duh.
All right.
Iron and I could probably go off on a tangent for forever talking about
We're gonna need so I'm thinking when the Transformers #6 comes out for the conclusion of the first arc, we'll just like Alpha Core, we'll do a full show on it. It'll be great. We'll do
plus we'll be able to potentially bring in anything with like the Duke and Cobra Commander too, because those are going to be like around as well. So,
and Void Rivals at that point in time will be starting its second arc.
Void Rivals is when I started reading it, it's surprisingly it's good, man. It's an original story in this universe. It got me right there when I was reading. I was about halfway into the first issue. I was like, this is cool. Like I was immediately invested with these people. That's good writing. That's
as
where
it should be. As it
good
should.
writing.
See, that's what we like around here. Good storytelling. We like for it to make sense, for it to be consistent, to line up with things. That's what we like here. So, okay. Guys, I hate saying this, and I shouldn't have to say it. Oh. No, we didn't talk about it. We talk about that one last quick thing before we pull out. I did not notice that.
Giggity.
I got
By the way,
here.
It's always better to pull out early than pull out late.
Say it, Jesse. Giggity.
Is better What's
Don't pull.
What's the saying go? I'm a little drunk now. That saying is better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
Yep.
I think it applies here.
Just go ahead and let it go and apologize to her later.
Joshua Williamson posted a letter as well. I love that. It's one of the non-classified. It says confidential. Ooh, confidential. I better not do that. But guys, go check out Cobra Commander #1.
Yes.
And yes, definitely read Transformers. Obviously, it helps that Transformers came out the week before. So clearly they are coordinating their schedule to make things line up as it should be. That's called continuity and making continuity work.
And the nice thing is, like, there's a good steady enough kind of release schedule that almost practically every week there's like a new release within this little pocket of comics.
It's true. It's fantastic.
No, that's right. It's like a
big.
Hughes.
No, he's definitely not Hughes
No.
Carson. No, he's definitely not. I definitely have heard about that whole spiel. I have heard.
He does have the what was it? The old boa design from Transformers G1.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's wearing the big trench coat.
From Old Snake, from
yes,
season
that's
3,
it. Old Snake.
Old Snake. That was the closest they came back in the day in the cartoon. In the season 3 of the Transformers, it was Old Snake. It was like some of the Autobots get turned into humans. From a guy. It was just Old Snake.
All right, dudes. I hate saying this because this is gonna be the part we call it a night, but I just want to say thank you everyone in the chat for being here. Shout out to Culture Casino earlier for letting me be on his show. It was great. We had a fun time hanging out there, and I love hanging out with that dude. He's one of my good buddies. I've someone I've hung out with in person. Him and his Mrs. the Boss, aka Per Se, the post-flight show. Great guy. His wife is great. Great to hang out with them again, and it's clear that I brought quite a few new faces to this stream after that show, which is saying a lot because he just streamed after. So they not one of them had to do that, but I thank them for doing that. So thank you, Culture, for bringing me on as a guest tonight. It was great. And because of all that, I want to thank Vulcan Lives and then present them for the direct donations. Nick the Greek for a super chat earlier. Osmora for becoming a member and gifting the hell out of like 15 memberships. Holy shit. And for the those few new faces who came in here tonight because of it, thank you. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you come back for more. No, you loved what you saw. You'll come back for more. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be huge. And for our regulars, you're fucking awesome. Just as much as the newbies. We will see you next week when we have C.S. Johnson on to have her as a guest. It's gonna be great. Yeah, no, this is not that show. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. Trust me on that one. I will be checking that comic out from Titan next month. Trust me. Maybe I'll even do a review for it if it feels like it's worthy of talking about. Yes, yeah, of course you're fucking awesome, dude. Oh, it's gonna be diabolically huge. So, and to the chat, whether you're here for a small midge, a portion of it, half of it, most of it, all of it, thank you guys for being here. Next week will be once again C.S. Johnson next week, and also Toxic Tuesday, Rambo 4, and I will be probably having a video on the new album from heavy metal giants Saxon, Hellfire and Damnation, that just released today. I can't wait to talk about this album because it's about the battle between good and evil. And you know what? It's a tale as old as time. And why not have it told in the format of heavy music? So that's what's coming on my channel. Of course, I'll be on Midnight's Edge After Dark Comics Division channel, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights for both channels. So I'm gonna let these gentlemen plug their plugs on the way out. So hey, there he's still around. Hell yeah! No, hail the Lord.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Pale.
All right. Yeah, right. It really is time to crash. I know Wolf Power. Oh, I know Wolf Power, man. Yeah, you can test me. I know my metal, dude. I trust me. I'm gonna be at one of the most metal festivals in Houston, Texas, in
He's
2
Mole Machine,
months
the man.
with the most metal guys on the planet. Try, please bring it. So, anyways, Pablo, sir.
Dude, okay, me message. There's a video that has been in the works the whole month. I will say that. The video is almost ready. I won't say the final editing, but uh, closer to the final version that you will get before I get some changes from an unexpected source. And I'm really dancing around a lot, but I love the video. I put a lot of work on the video and it's shaping really, really nice. So I'm really anxious to see it out and people enjoying it. Even if you don't like the topic, it will be alright. Also, well, I have been toying around with my camera. I actually did a stream on my Spanish channel that I never promote because it has 5 subscribers, and actually I don't really care about it. But it is official. I will try to be doing some maker streams because I thought about an idea. I will do deck cases, deck boxes out of wood with some interesting twists and some really really rad stuff. And I want to stream the making of because I will be selling them, and if I can get some bucks out of making them also, that will be great. So yeah, be prepared for some maker streams that are coming for my channel. It will be, if you haven't seen somebody work on aluminum before, it will be an interesting ride. Oh,
Pablo,
dude.
it's been awesome. Thanks for
Yeah,
hanging out, dude. I
I'm,
love having you here, man.
dude, I'm stoked. I'm stoked being able to talk about the things that are really, really incredible here. And also, there's a couple of things that I'm hopeful for, including the Transformers comics. I I'm enjoying a lot of stuff out of late, so it's a good time, man, and it's a really good time being able to share it with you guys. So
That means we gotta keep that gravy train rolling, man. So what we gotta
hell yeah,
do.
brother.
Have a great night, weekend, sir. I look forward to hanging out with you next Friday night when we have Mrs. CS on.
Hell yeah,
Keep being
brother.
the man, sir. And to the man with the fifth minion and staying busy in real life and on YouTube, the Common Nerd back on YouTube with the Common Nerds.
Yes,
Sir, plug
absolutely.
your
All
plug
right.
out.
Yeah. So tomorrow my wife's got her birthday stream at 2
Nice.
p.m.
Woo!
on my
Ooh.
Rumble and my Kick stream. So come check those out if you haven't already. She'll be live, probably playing video games and basically just getting a break from the baby and doing all of that kind of stuff. But
Happy
yeah,
birthday.
thank you. I'll let her know you said that. Thank you, Pablo. But yeah, other than that, Sunday 2 p.m. Bible study, and then 6 p.m. we've got there's no vets talking tomorrow night for the Skinamax Saturday, so I'll probably be doing some video game streaming or something like that. Then 6 p.m. we've got the Doctor Who review with me and Sunker Maidens, and potentially a couple of other guests as well, potentially Mr. Grant Gregory, and then somebody else too. I'm having a brain fart right now. And then Skinamax Saturdays is actually going to be Sunday night. I don't know how late I'll be to that stream, but we should be there for that one. And then Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. over there on Rumble, doing the morning prep and putting videos and content out all over the place. So come check me out all over the place. That's what I do. And as always, thank you to the beautiful chat out there. You guys have been absolutely amazing. You guys have been so generous tonight. I thank you very much for that. And can't wait to do this again next week. This will be fun. And always pleasure, boys. Always a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is mutual.
Giggity.
Have a great night, weekend, sir, and keep going between you, Mrs. Common Nerd, and the family, dude. Look forward to doing it again next week.
Appreciate it. Hell yeah.
Why, hello, friends. This is Ironcaster here, and it has been such a pleasure tonight, guys. Look, this is a chance to talk about some Transformers, some Cobra Commander, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I have been having a blast with this stuff. Guys, thank you for coming out, everyone. Nick, this has been a blast. Thank you for having me on. You're the best. That said, if you want to follow me and check out some more stuff with me, you can follow me on my channel, Ironcaster, where I sometimes talk about big robots. And I will be on tomorrow with the T-shirt historian for the weekend. We will no doubt be talking about Wizards of the Coast because they sure love to stick their foot in it.
Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, Charlie will sometimes be over with Snowdub on his channel for the Cotton Council, where these fine felted friends will oftentimes be getting into hijinks. Won't you talk about it? I just told them. Oh, yeah, thank you. So Tuesday I'll be on with Pops and Stone Loki and Brandon the Anime Guy, where we will be talking about the classic Miyazaki film Howl's Moving Castle for its 20th anniversary.
That's a really good movie.
Okay.
Ooh.
We're good? Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, Muhammad said that the news social is awesome. No, it's good. You enjoy it, man. Speak with your puppet.
I'll have you know I'm my own puppet.
You should see where Ironcaster's got the other hand.
Just wait till you find out which one of us has the hand up their butt.
Exactly. Ironcaster's being judged by his own puppet.
I swear they have a mind of their own. Like it's like that's all him.
Thank you, Caster.
Be careful what you tell him. He believes everything. He thinks buffalo wings come from actual buffaloes.
They don't.
Yeah. Oh,
they don't.
That's news to me.
Caster, it's been great. Have a great night, weekend. I'll see you again soon. We'll be talking again, as always, between Gilded DMs, Twitter DMs. It'll be huge. And then, once again, guys, if you haven't watched it, once again, Cobra Commander #1 review. Aaron Sparrow, Ironcaster, yours truly. Go all in, diabolically. Go check out the review. And to our very last gentleman, and then we're calling it good night.
Thank you so much for having me on, Nick. Thank you. Ironcaster, Pablo, and my brother Jesse. It's and Jaklabi. Always a pleasure. You guys are awesome. Thank you for letting me come on and geek out about Transformers, man. I just turn into like a little kid talking about this stuff. It gets me so excited. And it's such a blast to be able to talk about this. And then to hear the perspective of somebody like Nick, who's just coming in and getting into it now. It's amazing. It's really cool. And it's just nice that we have something really cool to talk about. And it makes it that much more awesome that it happens to be one of my favorite things. Yeah. So it is absolutely a blast to be on here. I will be, as always, Wednesdays with my brother Jesse on Winding Down Wednesdays, and I'm on Twitter at RussDiesel69. Also, there should be Iron Oxide's going to be starting up a stream possibly next week. We'll have to see. Tentatively, sometime maybe after Friday Night Tights, before Comic Shop Talk. We'll have to see. But he's going to be starting up his stream on his channel, and he and I are going to be kind of like doing that together, which should be pretty fun. And I'm going to be getting maybe streaming that on my channel and going back and forth and whatnot. But listen, thank you for having me on. It is a blast, and I really, really enjoyed this, man. This was so cool. You see Iron and I just like, oh, they're talking Transformers. It's awesome. And thank you, Hell, for coming, and all you in the chat for being as awesome as you always are.
All right. Thank you, Diesel. You're a fucking good dude.
Hell yeah, brother.
Have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you soon, and you will be back for Transformers number 5. We're going to have to do like a big Transformers panel for issue 6. Like you, of course, Caster, Relief Crusader. We'll do something big. Like all the Transformers guys. We'll do something mega for us, something special.
So, Common Nerd, I think you should go check out that Megatron comic I sent you for that. I think that might be fun because there is one particular story in there that you need to read. Chaos Theory.
Which one is it?
Chaos Theory. This was one of the IDW comics where Optimus and Megatron just sit down and talk.
Yes, that is. Oh, my best friend and I were talking about that the other day, where they just sit and it's where they just sit and go.
They talk philosophy.
Yes, it's
Good. Don't say anything else about it, so I can go read it later. And enjoy
man,
it.
That's a great book.
All right, gents. It's been fucking awesome, chat. Thank you for being here.
George!
Supporting his channel.
George! What's up,
dropping
brother?
as we're wrapping up, but George, good day, good night to you, sir. And he says, "All hail, brother, dude." Good night, sir. I hate to say as we're going up, but do gotta go. But shout out to George the Giant Slayer. All hail to you, my friend. All right. Yeah, moving is a huge pain in the ass. And George, I've been a lurk on your live streams. Keep it moving, man. Okay. I love seeing you stream. It's about damn time.
Yeah, George.
About freaking bloody damn time. So thanks for dropping in, dude. I hope to see you in Dallas in June. We'll just say that Dallas in June. So we got to be in touch for that because I haven't seen you since 2021 Vegas. So, anyways, guys, thank you for being here. And shout out to George the Giant Slayer for dropping in before we wrap up. Go listen to the stream as you pass out, George. Assuming you're not nocturnal. If you are nocturnal, listen anyways. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening. And sometime this year, actually, to be very fair on us, sooner than later, we'll finally have an intro and outro for this show. Thanks, guys.